Yo, dummy. Yeah, you're sitting there listening to this radio show. Why don't you sit there, pay attention, shut up, and turn up the volume? This is Ruthless Ryan Davidson from the Reality of Wrestling, and you are listening to Houston Wrestling Radio.
Hey everyone, this is Taeler Hendrix, your Boston Strong Bombshell, and you are listening to Houston Wrestling Radio.
Hello and welcome everyone to the 50th edition of Houston Wrestling Radio. This is Abel.
And this is Travis.
And I'm Chris.
And thank you so much for tuning in today, guys. Hey, 50! 50! Can you believe it?
No, I can't. I'm surprised I'm still here, actually. I'm surprised I didn't just give up on you already.
Yeah. You guys would have killed each other if I hadn't come.
This is true, probably.
Yeah, we were probably well on our way of doing that. But, you know, 50 episodes
I'm kind of surprised you're still here, Chris.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, and you, Abel.
He hasn't been here for the full 50.
Yeah, I'm really surprised you're still here.
Yeah.
Abel.
You know,
I'm surprised the listeners are still here.
50 episodes is, quite a big deal.
10 of 100.
However, we have our 1 year episode coming up here in a couple of episodes, and I think we're going to do a little bit bigger a deal for that. We're going to have a special episode coming to you guys for that one. So let's look forward to that.
Special as in momentous, or special as in I need to bring a helmet?
Both.
Oh shit.
Maybe. But for today's episode, we have a lot of stuff here in store. We got a lot of WWE talk, a lot of TNA talk, and hey, we have an interview with a former TNA Knockout, Taeler Hendrix.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Was I here for that?
Yeah, you very much were so here for that. Yeah. So, we got a lot of stuff in store, and I'm pretty excited for it. It seems pretty cool.
What the hell are we waiting for?
Well, let's get to it. Let's start off by talking a little bit about this past weekend.
It was a busy weekend.
Yes.
Oh my god.
A lot of wrestling this weekend. And just everything. There's football, there's boxing, all kinds of stuff going on.
Another freaking crazy game there, the Texans game. God, that was bananas. Mm-hmm. That was a roller coaster ride, to say the least. Chris is just nodding.
I don't want to think about it because I think I might have gone in and out of a coma at least twice during that. And it was not a food-induced coma. It was shit, man.
It was a shit coma?
You know, it's
language.
You know, the guy saved our ass in the first game, kicking the winning field goal for the Chargers, and then he just horribly choke jobbed on 3 field goals that second game. Doesn't matter. In football, just like in sports, it's what you've done for me lately. Yeah. And that performance probably might be the last we see of him for a while, if ever. And I won't miss him.
Not to mention Andre Johnson going down. Yeah. Oh, God, that sucked.
That was a weird hit, too. It didn't look like a hard hit. It just looked like he's taking worse hits. I'm surprised that happened.
Yeah.
But
so there was that. That was interesting. But then on Saturday we had Booker T's Reality of Wrestling.
Yeah.
That was a pretty good show. Chris, don't act like you went because you didn't go.
No. I'm sorry. I wanted to go.
And why didn't you go? What were you doing? Where were you at?
I ignored Ruthless's advice.
He's going to say you were scared, actually.
The hell, okay. I was one of those fools that went to watch the Mayweather fight. You know, because it
should have listened to Ryan.
I know. It's just like wrestling. You know, you miss a pay-per-view, it might be that one fight that the Money in the Bank cashes in, and you kick yourself in the anus because you miss it. You know, ever since Pacquiao got knocked out by Marquez out of nowhere, nobody saw that coming. Mm-hmm. Now every fight that has some kind of a draw, you have to watch it because it could be that fight where
you have to get on the bandwagon.
And the one fight that you miss is
the one that gets you. Yeah, and apparently this one was one I could have missed because I saw it coming. Canelo's fight style wasn't a match with Mayweather's. I have no idea how one judge called that a draw. The dude only won maybe 2 rounds tops, and that's even being generous. Yeah. The fight before it was really good. Like I told you guys when we were watching the pay-per-view, it just needs that boxing right now just needs a wrestling storyline, you know? Mayweather didn't get popular until he beat De La Hoya. And now De La Hoya is sending Mexican after Mexican after Mexican to beat this dude, and he fails miserably. So the only thing left to do is for De La Hoya to come out of retirement. One more match against Money Mayweather. One more match, you know? And then just as Mayweather's about to hit the knockout blow in the 12th and final round, Mayweather's dad comes from his corner, gets on his knees, low blows his son. De La Hoya gets the cover. Uno, dos, tres. We got a new champion. And now we're off to the races. Vince McMahon to be happy. And then the payback match isn't going to be in the boxing ring. It's not going to be in Vegas. No, it's going to be in WrestleMania 47 on the moon, Madison Cube Garden. Book that shit right now.
Madison Cube Garden. Oh god. Okay, well,
already having Futurama withdrawals, aren't you?
I know. Last episode was like 3 weeks ago, and I'm missing it.
I bought it just now.
Yeah,
it's on the phone now. We'll
download it. Yeah, okay.
We'll sleep to it.
Yeah, that was a really, really touching episode for the last episode.
It tied everything together too, especially when they decided to air the first episode.
Oh yeah.
Afterwards, to start the continuous loop all over again. It was nice. I liked it. I was sentimental.
It was a good finish to the series.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, we've spent the last 5 minutes talking about not wrestling.
Oh, by the way.
Oh, God.
This next season of The Simpsons, they're going to have a Futurama crossover episode. So it's
Get out!
It's not the last.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
And Family Guy's doing a Simpsons crossover.
Really?
Yeah, so it's a Family Guy episode with the Simpsons characters and the voices, everybody, doing a Family Guy episode. And then I think the Simpsons episode is with Futurama.
I'm actually surprised they haven't done that yet.
There's been a couple of cameos here and there on Family Guy episodes.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about Simpsons and Futurama.
Yeah. The only time I remember, there was a couch gag where the families are all sitting down on tubes, and instead of Bart, it's Philip Fry.
Oh, yeah.
That's the only Futurama reference that I've ever noticed. But there's some of the newest seasons I haven't really watched them all, so I don't know.
I'm still behind the Simpsons now.
Yeah. All right, that's enough. This is...
Man, you get off the topic of wrestling and Abel goes bananas.
I'm gonna cut all of this
out.
All
right, so whatever I didn't do means that you guys went to Reality of Wrestling.
Yes, we did. We did go to Reality of Wrestling, and that was a damn good ROW this month.
Apparently, you guys didn't go alone.
No, we didn't.
No.
What were you guys trying to do at Reality of Wrestling?
Well, we're trying to enjoy the show just like everybody else, obviously. And,
trying to start a new invasion war.
No.
Well, we weren't.
We weren't.
I hear New Japan's going to invade NWA Houston, so you need to even the playing field a little bit. So what kind of weaponry did you bring?
We had some of the Doomsday guys with us. We had the gentlemen.
Yes.
Sir Leopold Lipstash and Sir Dashing Nigel Assington.
Well, they were undercover because...
That's their names, Chris.
That's still funny, man. That's just not going to get old. You need to have, his face on a roll of toilet paper. That would be freaking epic. They sell it. Sell it at the show.
You hear that, Tex? So anyway, they were sitting with us up front.
You wouldn't notice it because they're in disguise. They didn't have their mustaches.
Mustaches. Yes. Sir Leopold Lipstash with no mustache. Come on.
Who does that, really?
Yeah.
I mean, come on now.
Yeah. These guys. So anyway, we were giving them a hard time all night about not having mustaches and mustaches, yes. And they were chanting and cheering along with us and giving all the ROW guys a hard time. And whenever they got a chance, they would chant some stuff for Doomsday. So it was really, really funny. But the ROW show itself was a damn good ROW show. It was really good. Yes. Okay. Yes. Don't you agree?
Oh, yeah. No, I'm agreeing.
Okay.
Man, you're getting really excited about this.
It was a good show.
Yes.
It really was.
You had to been there, Chris.
Yeah, you missed it. The no DQ match between Ruthless Ryan and the Pride, the one that, we were talking about last week during our interview with Ruthless Ryan. That match was pretty darn good. And, we had the Samoan Beast come out and, had Mysterious Q come out. And then we had Jared Steele come out. And basically, Samoan Beast was teasing several different spots where he was going to obliterate Pride. And, it didn't happen. It looked like that they had they got out of the table and it looked like he was going to jump off of the table onto the Pride who was on the table and basically kill him. But, it didn't happen. And... here's the thing with the Samoan Beast. Samoan Beast is freaking awesome, okay? And yeah, we've just recently been seeing him at Booker T's ROW, but you brought this up last week that he's been wrestling at other places. He's a tag team champion with Hernandez in San Antonio for River City Wrestling. But what I want to say about him is that he is so good. And he is so over, even though he's supposed to be this monster heel. Everybody just pops for this guy so hard. And, that's it's kind of a problem from a booking standpoint, because it's like...
It's a beautiful problem.
Yeah, but it's a good problem to have. You have a guy that's just so over that, they're going to, cheer for him no matter what you do, but we try to book him as a heel, but... it's still really great, and it's great seeing him out there. And if this leads to what I think it's going to lead to, which is Ruthless Ryan and the Samoan Beast creating a tag team of...
well, we'll go back and explain why you think this is going to happen.
Okay, well, Ryan was out there. He was, having his way with the Pride, and then Mysterious Q came out, and Mysterious Q was going to make the save, and Ryan was having his way with Q, and that's when, Samoan Beast comes out, and the Samoan Beast was going to do what I described earlier, jump through off the top rope through the table, and that's when Jared Steele came out to make the save. But he was just
kind of stood there. He didn't really do anything.
He intimidated. That was it.
It was kind of disappointing.
Yeah,
actually.
but that's what leads me to believe that since Ryan and the Samoan Beast were kind of in cahoots there, that they're going to make a tag team. And if they do make a tag team, I think they should call them the Bear and the Beast.
I think the tag would be against, not with Mysterious Q, but it would be with Jared Steele and
Pride.
And Pride, since that's the main fixture. They've already had from the past shows. Steel has been the one that's had the main feud with the Beast and not Mysterious Q.
Mysterious Q has the beef with Ryan.
With Ryan,
right?
Yeah, but since the match was involving gay Pride, Pride. I don't know if you guys.
Well, he's a face now.
Yeah, gay Pride. So, I mean, if we're going Darren Young here, so might as well. So then it would be, since that match never was resolved, then it would be Pride and Steel against them.
Well, whatever combination of those three that turns out being, that's all well and good, and I want for it to happen. But what I really want to happen is for Ryan and Samoa Beast to make a tag team. That's what I really want to happen, and I think that would be a really good heel tag team.
I don't even want to see him wrestle.
Who?
The Beast, it's gone past wrestling. The dude's like a National Geographic episode waiting to happen. Like that Family Guy episode. In its natural habitat, the fire truck stalks its prey. That's the Samoan Beast right there. Like, I want to see the Beast run on all fours and tackle like gay Pride and just eat him alive. And then here comes Jared Steele and he just covers his arm.
You're crazy, Chris. Anyway, so yeah, that was one of the things that happened. Also, we had the very first, as Kevin put it, threesome match. So that was interesting.
I'm regretting my decision more and more. I should have gone to this.
Yeah, you should have went. It was a great show. Let's see. It was Kelly Kevin and that new guy with the Zelda tattoo on his back. I can never remember his name.
That's the name I know him by. The guy with the Zelda tattoo.
The guy with the
Triforce?
Zelda tattoo.
We'll
Yeah,
just call him
Triforce. And who was the third in that match?
I can't remember.
We'll call her Samus.
Samus? Okay.
Yeah, why not?
Wait, well, that was pretty cool. And just the fact that they dubbed it a threesome match, of course, with Kelly Kevin, it was just hilarious. So, it was a good night all around. The Green Card Mafia, Team Internacional, they won when the titles were on the line. When they weren't on the line, that's when they lost to the Faces and back and forth. The freaking Team International. But all that stuff's going to be up on YouTube within the next coming weeks, and y'all should definitely take a look at it. This was some of the better ROW stuff that we've seen. So
it was a stacked card. It went on for a long time.
Yeah, that was a long freaking show too. Yeah.
I was tired.
Any place in particular where the fans can find the match on YouTube?
Yes, on YouTube. Do a search for Booker T's Reality Wrestling. Yeah, I don't know what the direct link is. Probably YouTube/Booker T's ROW, but I'm not sure. It might be /BTROW, or it might be all spelled out. I don't know. Just go to YouTube and search Booker T's ROW.
Sounds like somebody prepared.
Well, you had to put me on the spot.
50th episode.
50th episode. Woo! All right.
I did notice something. It's come to my attention. Last few shows, you're not bringing your signs anymore, are you?
That happened with the change of the car. I took my signs out of the old car, put it in my house, and I meant to put them in my new car. But then I don't have the exact same amount of room in the Scion as I did in the Impala, so I want to not keep my signs in the back there because I don't want it to block my view out the rear view. And I keep
could just
forgetting.
fold the seats down.
Well,
That's a flimsy excuse, Abel. I expect more out of you.
I'm not saying it's a good excuse. I just forget. I just forget to put it
Strap
back
him
in
to the
there.
hood. You're Mexican, aren't you? Go back to your roots, mijo.
Hey. See.
Fútbol.
So yeah, it's been all my forgetful fault,
Okay.
But whatever. So anyway, ROW was great. It was a good show, and I look forward to the next show, and I look forward to looking at all the stuff on YouTube. So it was pretty awesome. So
what wasn't too awesome?
What?
Night of Champions.
Night of Champions wasn't all that awesome.
We'll get to that. If there was a certain female wrestler that you'd want to see at ROW, who would you pick?
Who would I pick? Well, just maybe, I'd pick our interviewee for this evening.
Oh.
Maybe Taeler Hendrix. That'd be pretty cool if she came down.
Delicious.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, she could probably put Reina in her place,
Be a very small place.
Yes, very, very small place. So yeah, that'd be interesting. You know what? Why don't we go ahead and just cut to our interview time with Taeler Hendrix right now?
All right, sounds good.
All right. All right, guys, here we are with another very special guest interview for this week. We have a 3-time OVW Women's Champion and the first female TNA Gut Check winner. She is none other than Taeler Hendrix. Taeler, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you very much for having me on. I appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate you coming on. This sounds like this is going to be fun. You know what? We kind of like to get to know the people that we interview a little bit here. And one good question that we always have as an icebreaker, as a get to know you type question is this. How did you get into wrestling?
It's a really funny story. People that have heard me talk before have heard it. It's basically the gist was I was that kid that wasn't allowed to watch wrestling. My mom, she thought that wrestling was very different from when she was a kid. My mom was born in the 60s, and so she grew up in the 70s, and being from Massachusetts, we had what was called Lincoln Park, and not the band, everybody, but the place. And a lot of really famous and popular wrestlers that were featured on television for the WWF and all the territories would end up at Lincoln Park every single weekend. And my mom's father would actually take her. And a really funny story, a side story about that before I get into my story was when my mom was about 4 years old, she was at Lincoln Park with her dad, and she met Andre the Giant. And he scared the living bejesus out of my mom that I think she actually peed herself and ran away crying and screaming because Andre the Giant actually put his hand over my mother's face and it covered her whole head. She freaked.
Oh, wow.
And that's kind of a really, I don't know, I find it humorous because, in wrestling everybody knew that he was this giant, this monster, and everybody knows the Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant, that big iconic moment. So it was really funny to see, my mother grow up with such iconic characters and that pretty much revolutionized the business. My mom met and watched Andre the Giant, Jimmy Snuka, Killer Kowalski. She met Chief Jay Strongbow, Tito Santana. All these big names for the time would all be there every weekend. And, I was born in 89, and so I feel like when I was growing up, I feel like I was on the verge of the Attitude Era and all of that. I was in elementary school and seeing people do the suck it thing, and I'm like, hey, what's that? What does that mean? What's that? What's going on? Why is everybody doing the tan thing? What's DX? What's this lime green and black thing all about? And so my mom would see how violent it was and see just all these, storylines and all these women walking around half naked and decided, wrestling's not what it used to be. It's not what I loved as growing up as a kid, so my daughter's not watching that crap. It's pretty much how my mom put it. And I want to add a disclaimer out there because one time I was put in a magazine for an interview and they like kind of wrote my mom as some sort of, non-supportive parent, but no, she's been in it. So I would just continue with that now. So I was allowed to watch wrestling or Power Rangers as a kid. I don't know why my mom picked those two things, but she did. And so whenever my cousin would babysit me and my cousin John, or, there was this girl I played on the softball team with who was a complete wrestling head. She just taped everything on her little VHS tapes. And so whenever I would see my cousin or I would, go to that girl's house, I got little bits and pieces of wrestling to the point where I started hanging out with that girl more and more and more and kept watching more and more and more tapes. And I just fell in love with it. I thought it was so cool. I was always into sports as a kid, and I always played a lot of sports year-round. And so I thought it was the perfect career for me. I always wanted to be an actress, and I was always very athletically inclined and always really comfortable in front of the camera. And I always loved to travel. I wanted to travel the world. So it seemed like wrestling was the perfect thing for me. And I couldn't get enough of it. I remember I taped SmackDown, I taped Velocity and Confidential and, Sunday Night Heat, whatever the heck I could find, I taped it until eventually I ran out of tapes and then had to start taping my first stuff. But that's kind of how I got into it. And I remember it was Christmas Eve one night, and I climbed up on top of my 70s bunk beds, and I was flipping through the channels. I was like, okay, Mom and Dad are downstairs, and they're stuffing the stockings. I'm supposed to be asleep, but shh, no one will know. And I found wrestling, and it happened to be on. And I saw The Rock cutting this promo, and the crowd, wherever they were, was going insane. I thought the roof was going to come off. I was little, I didn't know. And then all of a sudden you hear this ding-ding, ding-ding, ding-ding. And I'm like, what the heck is that? And then there was this countdown, and, everybody now knows it was the debut of like J. Chris Jericho into the WWF or WWE. I don't know what it was at the time. And it was insane. And I remember, him talking this promo saying how he was going to save the WWF or something like that. And I remember The Rock going, who's the WWF needs saving? And then it was like, oh my God! And like the crowd went nuts. It was crazy. I thought they were going to riot. Again, I was little. I didn't know. So that was like one of the moments that I actually can remember in my head, and I just thought it was the most insane thing ever. I thought I wanted to, jump into like a 360 off of, off of my top bunk and, land on the floor like a superstar. But I'm not that inclined. And from there on, I was really hooked, and I remember seeing Victoria on the television. I remember wanting to hate and kill Trish Stratus, because she was like this big bitch heel and all this stuff. And I remember going, oh my God, Victoria's so amazing. I'm going to be just like her. And then I remember seeing China going, oh my God, that is one hell of a woman. And, I finally figured out what the heck DX was. And, I saw the Stone Cold busting, beer cans open. And, I saw the McMahon. So it was just a very interesting thing for me, and I thought it was so full of drama and all this physicality, and just, I don't know, it felt to me like just a giant male-oriented physical soap opera, and it kind of just drew me in, honestly, and it was amazing. It's definitely different today, and it's different, from when my mom was a kid, but that's pretty much how I got into watching wrestling, and then it's a completely different story how I actually got started doing it. But I don't know, I always like telling that story because I think it's really ironic and funny.
Yeah, that's pretty cool there, that, your first experiences and stuff, and especially with your mom, that was basically from, indie wrestling and all that stuff, Linkin Park and meeting, Andre the Giant, and that's a really, really similar story that my parents have, and from, wrestling here, in the Houston area at the Houston Coliseum for Paul Bosch, he brought in Andre the Giant and Ric Flair and people like that. And my parents actually have stories about meeting Andre the Giant and, just being, oh man, this guy's so big. My dad actually tells a story about, shaking his hand, and it was like a baby's finger in an adult's hand. And, that's interesting that we're on completely different sides of the country, yet indie wrestling still has the same impact, for different wrestling fans, all over the place. So that's really cool that that's happened, that way, and that's part of how it got you into it. But I kind of want to segue off of that. Speaking of indie wrestling, you wrestled for, OVW, and you're back in OVW right now, and, you've had quite a bit of success there. And let's talk a little bit about you getting into the actual in-ring and wrestling in the ring and stuff. How did all that come about? When did you decide to go ahead and start doing that?
Well, do you want me to start from the beginning, or since you mentioned OVW, do you want me to talk about me getting in the ring at Ohio Valley Wrestling?
Well, let's see here. What would be the more interesting story?
Well, I think, I got to OVW through, starting in wrestling, so I guess I'll just start with that and just, stick to bullet points or whatever, so you can ask me other questions.
Okay.
I tried to start wrestling when I was 14 because there was a school back home that took kids at 14 years old. It was called Slam Tech Pro Wrestling, and it was run by Bob Evans. Everybody may know him as Brutal Bob at Ring of Honor with Mike Bennett and Maria, so he's still around. I emailed him at 14 because I received this card, I think it was, or maybe it was a flyer, after my first event that I went to live, which was SmackDown, I want to say in 2003. I won tickets at a festival back home called Atlantic City Festival, and this rock radio station had tickets, so I won them with another girl. Thank you, Alexis. That was awesome. I'll never forget that. And after the event, they had people handing out flyers. And ironically enough, it was the same school handing out flyers that I would see commercials for on the TV. And, the people that were in commercials on the TV, it's really funny to think back now because, Mike Bennett was there and, he's done stuff for, Ring of Honor, and I wouldn't imagine that he will never make it to WWE. I imagine he'll be there real soon. And, I saw, other people that were in that commercial that are just WWE developmental. So it's kind of funny to see where they are now based from where they started. But to continue the story, I emailed them. Bob said, yeah, come on down. This is the price. This is where we start taking people, blah, blah, blah. And here's like a schedule, how we do it, because your age and, you can't wrestle on shows until you're 17, whatever. My mom said no. So I tried a year later when I was 15, emailed Bob, my mom still said no. So 16 came around, he was like, listen, kid, you're not coming. Don't keep pulling my chains. I was like, oh, God, I pissed him off. Crap. But, same thing. Mom said no. So 17 came around, and I met this guy who actually still wrestles. I went to my first ever local wrestling event at a promotion that's still around and still does really great things in the local area. They call Top Rope Promotions by Steve Ricard. And that's actually, I'll get to them later, but that was my first ever wrestling event that I went to. It was for them, and they were doing some sort of house show or whatever. And I met this guy. And we hit it off really well when we started dating, and he was actually a wrestler, and he still wrestles. His name is Brendan Webb. And he took me to his trainer, who was Brickhouse Baker. So that was, we met in September or August of 2006, and I started training at the training center with Brickhouse Baker in October of 2006. And I was immediately put on shows with no training, which was probably a horrible idea, and I do not condone. I don't think anybody should do that. Horrible. But you know how indie wrestling is and people at the backyard or whatever. So I did that, and then I continued training. And then I actually went to train with Matt Heisman, who's like Dudley. And he was a trainer at Top Rope Promotions, and later Ryan Drew was. So I trained with them for like a year and a half. And then I went to a guy who was a student of Bob Evans. His name was Dan Freitas. So I trained at his school for about a year, I want to say. And then I took some time off after that. And then I finally, after several years, got to train with Bob Evans. So it was kind of like I went full circle. And that's when my career started to take off. I started getting more bookings in the local area. And, you know, I got booked for those, like, 3 to 5 tapings for Ring of Honor. And that's where I met Kevin Kelly and Les Thatcher and Terry Taylor. And I met those people because Bob was, you know, having me go to all these seminars to learn from all these different people. And I'll never forget that. That's kind of made me who I am today as a performer, is because I got to learn all these different things from all these different people who have different experiences in the business and have actually gone somewhere instead of just paying some indie guy who had enough money to buy a ring so he can call himself a trainer. You know, I actually went through reputable people, so I feel like that made a big difference for me, and those are still people that help me today. And then after that, Bob took me to a seminar/tryout with Jim Cornette for OVW, and I did really well, and they had a lack of girls, so I thought that was a great opportunity. And then about a year later, almost to the exact day, a year later, I moved to OVW. And I've been at OVW, I never left. So when you said earlier, hey, you know, you're back at OVW, I actually never left. And as of a couple days ago, it was my 2-year anniversary of being at OVW, so...
Oh, well, congratulations. All right. Oh, well, so basically, I guess we all kind of know that, TNA kind of allows other wrestlers to wrestle for other promotions, from time to time. I didn't realize that that you never left OVW, so that's pretty cool that you were able to stay loyal there and still be involved and be there this whole time. So that's really neat. We would like to.
I think that's the misconception, because I'm getting that from a lot of fans too. I don't think people realize that just because you're signed to TNA doesn't necessarily mean that you can't be at OVW. And by the same token, if you're not signed to TNA, that doesn't mean that you can't be at OVW. Anybody can go and train at Ohio Valley Wrestling. And in my opinion, people can feel free to agree or disagree. I think it's one of the best places in the continental U.S. to train, because it is the one place where it's consistent training and consistent TV exposure every single week, and all three companies look at OVW. Whether it's a TNA developmental or not, WWE still looks at OVW. Ring of Honor still looks at OVW, and we're the TNA developmental school. So I think that in itself speaks volumes about our training facility. It may not be the best building or the most glamorous thing in the world, but you know what? It kind of makes you appreciate those types of venues and things like that when you finally make it there, because you understand the hard work that goes into it. There's training almost every single day of the week at OVW for beginners, intermediate, and advanced class. You have Al Snow there, you have Rick Rogers and Danny Davis, and all of these people, they're working with you, plus character development and TV tapings every single week, house shows just about every single weekend, practice every week. So just because you're not signed to TNA like I was doesn't mean that you can't be there. And when you're TNA developmental, you're actually required to be at OVW if that is your contract. So that means not only are you working for TNA, you're working every single week for OVW, and you're going to training every single week at OVW. So I just wanted to clear that up.
Okay, cool. And that sounds like a really good, way to kind of, still be wrestling, still be getting exposure, learning, paying your dues, and, just still being involved in the world of wrestling. And, sometimes people don't realize that is how it is, where sometimes there's, give and take back and forth between talents of, from different companies and whatnot. It's not very structured, more, like how like football and stuff is. So that's really awesome. And that's awesome that you put in so much time and that you've been able to do a lot of stuff there at that place. So, but let's talk a little bit more specifically about your time in TNA. When I saw you there and, when you won Gut Check, I thought very highly of you, and this is why. You were different. You had the Boston accent. You had your name spelled in a very unique way. I thought that we were really going to be able to see a lot of you, and see something different. And I was really excited. How was it, how was it for you? How was your experience during your time, being with the TNA company?
There's so many things that I would love to say about it, and, be a real person, and there's one thing I want the people that are going to listen to this interview to understand, and my fans in general, and my haters to understand, because Lord knows I have my fair share of them, amen. And, haters are what drive me to keep going, as well as my supporters. But I really feel like I didn't get my full chance to shine, and no matter what you do, no matter, who you are in that spotlight, there's always going to be people that hate you. There's always going to be people that, like you, that think that you are different, that you are exciting, that you are good and deserve to be there. I would love to disagree with my haters and say that I did deserve to be there, and I did deserve a fair shot, and that I am different, and that I am a breath of fresh air, and that I am a one-girl revolution, because that to me is what it was all about, was being different. But, different's hard, and it's lonely, but I would rather be different than be the same. And I think that's something that more people should strive for, because in this business there's enough. And I don't think it's fair to say that, if you're a blonde, you fit into the stereotype. If you're a brunette, like, hair color, I couldn't give a crap about hair color. My hair color is red right now, but everybody thinks it's brown. It's irrelevant. My outfit didn't look like anybody else's because I didn't have real custom gear at the time. Like, that to me was irrelevant. Just I wanted to show my style. I wanted to show my personality and my heart and my character in it. And at the end of the day, I'll never know if being different is what helped me or what hurt me. I know people have issues about the weight, and I'm a lot smaller now. There's always going to be something that somebody is going to find to pick on me, whether, I'm not as sexy as Christy Hemme, being compared to Christy because I'm a redhead, or being compared to Lita. But the thing that makes them two unique is that they're who they are, and I'm who I am. And it's not fair to compare someone like me to Christy or to Lita or to even Taryn Terrell or to anybody, because I'm a league of my own. I strive to be a one-girl revolution, as corny as that sounds. I strive to be Boston strong. Whatever cliche little tagline I can come up with, I strive to be that. And I really wanted to prove to everybody who was watching what I had, because if I do something, I'm going to do it well. And I feel like I didn't mess up, really. When I was there, I felt like I did the best I could in every single match. I may have lost every single time, but I feel like I live my life by knowing that you got to know how to lose in order to know how to win. So I feel like I have a pretty good idea now how to win. It's just whether or not I'll be given the opportunity that I deserve, because I'm a girl that's at training every single week. I'm at TV tapings every single week. I'm studying. I'm at the gym. I am just doing all these different things that I feel like more girls should be doing, but sometimes you just have to be in the right place at the right time, or just know how to play the game. And I'm not going to play the game in a dirty way. I'd rather play the game knowing that I did it my way, and that's the right way. And thank you for watching me on TNA, and I'm sorry that I couldn't show you more of what I can do, but working with Nikki and Tara and Velvet, I really feel like that I gave you a taste of what I can do. Now it's just a matter of who's going to give me a chance to show you all of what I can do, because I think that I am very versatile and I am different. And, at the end of the day, I just know that I did my best, and that's what matters. So, I don't know. It's just one of those things where, I'm not disappointed, but I am at the same time. And I really feel like it's not fair to judge me on what they've seen because they didn't see enough.
All right, that sounds awesome. You're talking about where we can see you wrestle and everything. Are you any plans to come down to the Houston area in some of our local listeners?
Right, because I'm really great friends with Barbie Hayden, and I know she wrestles a lot for NWA. So I would love to come down to Texas. I feel like that's somewhere I've never been. I've never wrestled, so that would be awesome. So anybody listening who wants me to come to Texas. But I am traveling coast to coast in the next month. I'll be in Florida next weekend, I think. And then, I'm going to California in October, and New Jersey and Boston and New York. So I'm traveling a lot more than I ever have, and that's really exciting. And I don't think I would have gotten that without TNA, so I am very thankful. So hopefully this will be my chance to actually shine and glitter and sparkle, so to speak. I would love to come to Texas.
Awesome. I think that would be pretty cool too. You get a chance to maybe even wrestle Barbie. She's really big here in the indie scene. We also have several other different girls that wrestle out here and that have came out of Houston, like Athena. So I think that would be pretty cool if we get to see you here. Now, since you're traveling around, you're taking bookings, you're wrestling all over the country. Is there anybody in the indies, in WWE, in TNA, or anything like that you have a goal of wanting to wrestle, but maybe you haven't got a chance to wrestle them yet?
Oh, a ton. I could rattle on a list right now, and people are going to think I'm marking out, but I really don't care. I love different women, and I just love watching them do their own thing, being unique. And there's a lot of women that are really talented on the indies who are doing their own thing and who are unique. So I would love to wrestle Natalya. Since Beth is definitely gone, I would definitely love to wrestle Natalya even more. She's someone I actually respect and admire, and I love her style and her originality, and just, I don't know, she's just someone I've always wanted to wrestle. So I would definitely have to put Natty pretty up there. As far as, a tag team goes, I do have a tag partner that I'm trying to get that off the ground, so I would love the chance to wrestle with the Bellas. Just to see the different styles and different stuff clash. Like, whether you love them or you hate them, it's irrelevant because they draw money. So, and they're everywhere. So I would love to do that. I would love to wrestle Beth Phoenix, and I am actually getting the chance to wrestle Katie Lee, and she's one of the girls that was on my list, so I'm really excited for that. I really love to wrestle Kong again, because when I wrestled her the first time in 2010, I really wasn't prepared or ready or, had enough training under my belt to do that well at that time, so I really would like another shot at that, at her, I should say. I definitely want to wrestle with Jessica Havoc and Angelina Love. And I really respect Angelina Love. And when I was coming into TNA, she was leaving. So, my first day was her last day. So, it was the timing was never perfect. So, I would love to wrestle Angelina and Taylor Wilde. And there's just so many girls that I feel made TNA so awesome in, the 08, 09, and early 2010 era that I was just so excited to work. And then it was when I finally got there, they were all gone. So, crap. I would love to wrestle Gail, and I'd love to wrestle Lisa, Tara, Victoria, whatever you want to say. I'll just call her Lisa. I'd really love to wrestle her again, because I felt like we had great chemistry, and I felt like it was a really good competition, and plus she was one of the first ever females I ever saw on TV that I wanted to model myself again, so that would be ideal. The list could really go on. I'd love to wrestle Barbie Hayden. I'd love to wrestle some of the girls that I started with back home. Now that I have more experience, it would be nice to see that, a Northeast versus Northeast sort of thing. I really would love to wrestle my friend Nova, since she is no longer with WWE. That would be awesome. And there's just so many girls. I'd love to wrestle Paige, and I'd love to have another match with Santana Garrett or Shanna. So I don't know. We could spend the rest of this interview going over all the girls that I'd love to wrestle, but I don't know.
Everybody.
Yeah, that is a very long list, but to be honest, that's a long list of some great talent, and there's a lot of great talent right now on the indie scene, and, in WWE, mentioned Natalya and the Bellas and all that, and some of the people that were coming out of the Knockouts division, as you were going in, right now it seems as though, especially with, and I know this is going to sound weird, but especially with the Total Divas show, it seems as though there's a little bit of a renaissance in women's wrestling over this past year. But what, at being a female wrestler, what's your opinion of the state of women's wrestling today?
It's really funny because I know people are going to disagree with this, but I've said it before and I'll say it again. Sex never goes out of style, everybody. No matter how great or how bad the economy of the United States or even the world is concerned, women will always draw. And the people that say women's wrestling doesn't draw are just small-minded people that don't want to give women the time of day because they're women. Okay? All women's shows wouldn't be around and be resurfacing if women's wrestling did not draw. And I think both companies right now are so focused on women's wrestling because they realize that, TNA realized at one point that their women's division is what was getting all the ratings and keeping the doors open and just giving TNA such great hype with, their workhorses, their women, You have my veteran from back home, Nikki Roxx, who was Roxy Laveau, and by the way, add her to the top of the list because I have never wrestled her, even when I lived in the same part of the United States as her, so I would love to wrestle her. She could make a broomstick look good. But anyways, and they had people like Josette Bynum, Sojo Bolt and Gail Kim and things like that, women like that. Women's wrestling can draw if done the right way and given the same opportunities that men are. Just, we have to remember that we are women, so wrestle as women, which is as good, if not better, than the guys, but also in a womanly way. That's kind of what we're learning at OVW. But at the same time, I feel like women need to go back to having gimmicks, having personas. Don't just be a model who looks good, because that's how I feel that women's wrestling went down, is because they had these models who couldn't wrestle. And I understand what people say and mean by, it's easier to teach a pretty girl how to wrestle than it is to teach a wrestler how to be pretty. But at least wrestlers have a passion for the business. So just work with them on being beautiful, if that's what you want them to be. But I really liked the older times in WWE when everybody was different. Trish Stratus, yes, she was a blonde, but she wasn't defined by her hair color, she was defined by her character. Lita had the flaming red hair, and she had her own style, and she appealed to a certain market. Victoria was this, badass bodybuilder, dominator who appealed to a certain market. The same thing for China, Dawn Marie, Tori Wilson. Whether or not they could wrestle as good as everybody else or not was irrelevant. Everybody had their own character, and they wrestled as their character. Ivory, Molly Holly. You could make all of them blonde. It didn't matter what their hair color was. They all were different and wrestled different and tried to keep that style throughout their match. And they were the same character that came out of the curtain, wrestled through the match, ended it, and went back through the curtain. I think that's what's missing from today's wrestling. You can see that with AJ Lee. You can see that with the Bella Twins. And you can see that, with Natalia. And you can see that, with certain people, but there's a lot of girls in this business who just wrestle because they want the attention and they want to look good, or they want the endorsement deals, or to go into acting or whatever. I feel like that's what's missing, and if we can get back to having identities and having characters instead of being cookie-cutter wrestlers, then I think that'll make people realize that women's wrestling is good. It does draw, and it does bring in a market, because not every girl is going to appeal to the same market. Some people love chubby chicks. Some people love flat-chested chicks. Some people love these huge, gassed-out bodybuilder women with 10 chins. You know what I mean? Like, some people love really fake Barbie-looking girls, and other people love, little squeaky, skippy, nerdy brunettes. You know what I mean? Like, everybody's different, so try to have a little bit of everything, and that's what I like about things like Shine, who promote women's wrestling and have tons of different females on the roster, all kinds of shows like that. I just really enjoy, because you see all these different characters, all these different styles. Taylor Wilde didn't wrestle the same as Angelina Love. Gail Kim doesn't wrestle the same as Mickie James. You know what I mean? So it's like, you just need to have a bunch of different styles, people that know how to work and tell a story, and just overall characters, because characters are marketable, characters make money, and characters make a show entertaining, because not everybody that watches wrestling is wrestling fans. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like you said, it is characters that make wrestling, and you are 100% right. That's how it's been since day one. With the guys and the girls, the best wrestlers have always been the ones that have had their character turned up to 11, and that's what they always say about all the greats. Stone Cold was Stone Cold because that was really him, except he just over-exaggerated his own personality. Same thing with The Rock, and that same principle applies to, the ladies as well. So, yeah, you're 100% right on that. And I hope that, we get to see the opportunity for you to be that as well, to be on WWE or TNA on national TV, whatever other promotion comes down the pipe that gets a national deal. If you're there, that would be pretty good. And I would really look forward to seeing that, because it sounds like you definitely have the best interest of wrestling at heart, where, like you said, some of the other girls, they just rather be models and just get the attention and be famous. So, there we go. That's a good way of putting it and a good way of stating it. I guess we go ahead and just, wrap this up a little bit. We got a little bit over our time, but that's fine. We had some great stuff here. Thank you so much for coming on our show. Is there anything that you want to put out there? Any type of shout outs that you want to give, or any type of, places that you're going to be or anything like that? Anything you need to put over?
Absolutely. Actually, thank you for the opportunity to do so. Tomorrow night, so it's ironic that we're doing this tonight, because I know we booked this back in July, but tomorrow night I'm going into one of the biggest matches of my whole career, and for anybody who doesn't know, at Ohio Valley Wrestling tomorrow night is a 4-way women's ladder match for the OVW Women's Championship. Now, unlike other promotions, at OVW there's only one women's belt, and it's the OVW Women's Heavyweight Champion, okay? And we take that really seriously. We're really proud of that belt. And right now it's vacated because Trina, who was our champion, actually is injured and needs to go in for surgery. So we've been doing this OVW contest to see who's, the top Ben Batal, who's the pretty much the brand name and the face of our women's division. So they took the last 4 of us from our Battle Royal, and now we're all in a 4-way. It is Lady Kappa of TNA versus the Blossom Twins of TNA versus myself, formerly from TNA. And I feel like this is the first time it's been done. Women have had ladder matches in the past, but this is every woman for herself. And this is going to be huge. It's going to be epic, and I hope there's a full house, because the women at OVW have not main evented OVW since Katie Lee and Beth Phoenix had a ladder match, and they're the only women to ever do so at OVW. So this is a really big deal for us, and it's going to be super exciting, and I hope I come out on top so I can be a 4-time OVW Women's Champion, and I'm really, really excited because some of the top women in the business actually came out of OVW. You know, Gail King spent time in OVW, Mickie James, ODB, Beth Phoenix, Maurice, you know, all these people that you are household names these days all came out of OVW. So I want to be that person who wins this match and puts over this title. And 4-time women's champion. So that is at OVW tomorrow night at 4400 Shepherdsville Road. Doors open at 6 and the show starts around 7 and tickets are $5. So I hope everybody's watching, and if you can't make it, I hope you tune in on Thursday because the episodes air on Thursday on our website, which is ovwrestling.com. And we air on Saturdays on Ion Christian Network in our local area, and I hope you guys are just as excited as I am.
All right. Well, we probably won't be able to make it to the show, considering we're down here in Texas, but we might be able to check it out on the website. You said it was ovwrestling.com, right?
Yes, every episode we tape on Wednesday airs on Thursday.
All right, that sounds good. We'll see if we could give it a look-see there, and hopefully some of our listeners will do the same as well. Thank you so much for your time. You said you were very, very fun, very informative, and you know what? You just seem genuine. You know, I guess that's a good way to put it. But thanks so much for coming on our show. Maybe we can have you again some other time, and hope to see you on TV, or hey, see you down here in Houston. That'd be pretty cool.
Thank you so much, guys. You have a great night.
All right. All right. Hey, Taeler Hendrix. Man, she was really nice.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah, she was nice and very
nice,
straightforward. Yeah, shut up. You know, she was very straightforward. You know, like, you know, this is how I see it, and you know, she just kind of told it the way
if
she.
You like it, you like it. If you don't,
yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So yeah, she was really cool, real cool chick to talk to. You know, and I hope we do get to see her there. You know, before we went into the interview, you asked if I'd like to see her at ROW. Yeah, why not? You know, that'd be cool. She comes down here. Yeah. So awesome, huzzah! So you know, or who knows, we might see her in TNA again. You know, that'd be cool. But speaking of TNA,
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
You sneaky bastard!
You would think that TNA would need, you know, some female talent right about now.
Well, the whole division, basically.
Yeah,
basically.
They don't need a new female wrestler. They need a new division.
Yeah,
they don't have one.
Right. Right. Basically, what we're referencing here is Mickie James. Her contract is kaput.
Yeah, it's been announced
expired
on the interwebs there.
Yeah, all this past week that's been the news. You know that she didn't renew.
Right.
So you know this might be a little bit of a spoiler, but it's not really. I mean, she didn't renew her contract, and she has a title match with ODB this week. So we'll just leave that there.
I wonder who's gonna win that.
Yeah, me too. Anyway, without Mickie James, who's left in that division? Gail Kim,
ODB, and Velvet. You have Brooke, but she's more of a valet now. She's not really wrestling. And
I guess in a pinch they could just have her wrestle anyway.
They could, yeah. And then,
if they want to have the belts in the Aces and Eights stable,
yeah.
If they want to go that route,
if there's still Aces and Eights after a while, well, I guess there would be.
Yeah,
but and then I guess is Taryn still employed? Taryn Terrell?
She's
inactive or
Madison's the one that's pregnant, right?
Madison was pregnant, yeah,
but she's not there anymore. I think.
Taryn is either injured or still up.
MIA.
Yeah, she's still MIA.
Yeah, I forget what's wrong with which one, but yeah, that's who's
regardless. It's only two more. You know, it's not still.
Yeah,
still a whole lot. There.
No one would ever know if you watched the Divas, the Knockouts one night only pay-per-view that was on the internet, and they had all these divas, all these women.
Yeah, Serena Deeb.
And then you turn on the Spike on the telly, and there's like
two. Yeah.
And Mickie James and Serena match from the pay-per-view. Did you see it?
No.
Oh man, it's so good.
Really?
That was like for me, that was match of the night, if you want to call it that.
Okay.
So. But,
of the night.
Is it worth buying and watching that pay-per-view?
It was good to see a lot of the independent female wrestlers that you know about all in one place.
Yeah.
Most of them are ones that you saw just on TNA. Evil East versus Lady Tapa, that was just a straight up rematch from when they were doing the gut check thing.
Yeah.
So cheerleader Melissa, Alyssa Flash, yeah, but she's changed, man. Her appearance, I don't know if you seen her lately. She's lost a lot of weight. She's red hair instead of brunette.
Speaking of women that have had a dramatic change, Awesome Kong.
Ooh, yeah.
Now Kong wasn't on
right.
This
No, she wasn't on
pay-per-view.
there,
But yeah, we've seen pictures. She's also lost a lot of weight too. She's changed up her look a little bit. That'd be pretty cool to see.
Do you think that hurts the gimmick at all?
I don't know. I don't think
it
so.
would. I think it would.
Because
I don't know if she's going for that same gimmick anyway. Because she's not even dressing in all that get up. At least in the pictures we saw, she wasn't even.
I mean, because overhearing the interview, Hendrix's opinion about what made the Divas, or what made women's wrestling better was when they had their own personality and their own characters. And Awesome Kong is, without even speaking, just pure visual. She was a character.
Yeah,
and
right,
that visual is gone.
Right.
How would that affect?
That's why I'm agreeing with you. I think it does affect her actual gimmick. She would have to she would have to drop the whole Kong name in general and just use her real name or whatever she wants to do. Use another type of gimmick name. Yeah. But she can't say I don't think she could go off by saying Awesome Kong or Amazing Kong or whatever,
Karma.
Well, she could use that anyways if she wanted to.
Right. Unless she went into
she could misspell it.
Whatever. Well, Karma was already misspelled, wasn't it? Karma. Yeah.
Harm was in the middle of it.
Harm.
And put an H at the end. Why not?
Yeah.
What's the difference? There was just the I and the Y difference in the Rhino gimmick when he was jumping companies, so it could be done.
But that's what everybody did in the late '90s, early 2000s. Just put a Y instead of an I. It's cool. That's what everybody's doing.
It's edgy, or a Z instead of an S.
Yeah. Good thing she didn't pull the Ultimate Warrior and change her real name to Awesome Kong, and then lose all the weight, and then she's screwed.
Yeah. But ta-da! There we go.
But yeah, Impact women's division.
Yeah, they need some of those girls back. They
because we're gonna get tired of seeing ODB versus Gail Kim for the 20th time. Or throwing the.
I mean, ODB and Gail Kim are great talents and they're great wrestlers.
Oh,
but
I'm not saying they're not.
Two girls a division does not make.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, after last week where we just talked about TNA and we just really raked them over the coals. I kind of feel bad for, bringing this up and talking bad about him again, especially when we had such a great episode of Impact. I think Impact itself was pretty darn good. I mean, what we're talking about here right now is something that didn't actually happen on TV. Right. It's like some of the behind the scenes stuff, and that's kind of what the whole crux of the things that we're all upset about with TNA is. It's the behind the scenes stuff. It's the booking. It's this and that. When it comes to actual matches, I still say this. I said this back then. I say it now, and I'll probably still say it in the future. On average, the in-ring work quality in TNA is better than WWE. On average. But it's sometimes the booking, the storylines, the angles, the backstage decisions, and all this and that just ruins TNA.
The problem, in my opinion, they have great pieces. I just can't tell what the puzzle is. Watching the episode last Thursday, knowing how it's going to turn out, the reality, I didn't like.
Knowing because you were able to predict it, or knowing because you read the spoilers?
No, because this was a live episode.
Oh, okay.
That's why.
Duh.
But knowing how it was going to turn out, it kind of ruined it for me in that sense. But regardless, the product that was on that show for that night, if you were to take away all the rest of storylines or just watch the first as your first episode and build on it for what it was, pretty much top to bottom, it was a pretty good show. Better than a good show, I'd say. It was actually very good.
Yeah. In fact, there was a couple of match of the week candidates that came out of that. My first match of the week candidate that I would like to put up there is Austin Aries versus AJ Styles. And then the second one I like to put up there is Magnus versus Rude. Guys, what do you think? Do you want to add any more, or do you want to take one of those off, or are you comfortable with those, or what?
No, those are both really good matches. I was kind of surprised when I saw one of your tweets.
Okay.
Yes. About how you mentioned that the Magnus and Rude match was turned a little bit better than the AJ and Austin Aries. And I couldn't agree with that. I was like,
Okay.
I was thinking that the first match, Austin Aries and AJ was, I thought it was a much better match. And
You know, when I tweeted that, I was in the middle of watching the Magnus versus Rude match. It hadn't finished yet. And up to the point, so the beginning towards the middle of the match, it seemed as though that was better than the beginning and towards the middle of the match of Aries versus AJ. Right after, I guess I jinxed it, right after that match, that's when the quality started to go down and why I would pick Aries versus AJ over it. But I still think both of the matches were solid. I think it could have been misinterpreted that I was saying that match was the better match, especially since I was on a delay anyways and I was like 45 minutes behind. But it seemed as though the beginning of that match, the beginning of Magnus versus Rude, seemed to be a lot better than the beginning of AJ versus Aries. But overall, after watching both of the matches in their entirety, I say Aries versus AJ was better.
okay, good.
Well, I'm glad we were able to clarify.
I'm glad you're able to agree with me.
Chris?
Which led up to the main event, the finals of Bound for Glory series.
AJ versus Magnus.
Yep.
Do you think that match was any better or worse than those other two matches we were just talking about?
I wouldn't say worse, but it was hard to follow, because they both left behind a really good match to begin with. So to try to raise the bar after already having a match that night, it's kind of a tough task to do. Mm-hmm. So it's not that it was a bad match or a worse match. I just cut them some slack because of the situation that they had already wrestled before, and they
both were pulling double duty,
and there were good matches to begin with.
Yeah.
So
what did you think of the order of the matches? I thought it was weird that the World Heavyweight Title match between Bully and Anderson was not the final match, but it was just kind of thrown in the middle of all the other stuff that was going on for Bound for Glory.
Yeah, if this was a regular pay-per-view, I would have given that pause and been like, okay, this is the World Heavyweight title. This should be the last match of the show. But since this wasn't pay-per-view, although they kind of, were marketing it
would have been a pay-per-view.
Yeah, it would have been. Since it wasn't pay-per-view, and since this was kind of like almost like a placeholder type feud, just so that Bully would have somebody to fight and put the title up against, I'm okay with it. If they had invested more time and built up Anderson and him challenging for more than, let's say, 2 weeks, then, yeah, I would agree with you that probably should have been more important than what's essentially a number one contenders match. But we're talking about the culmination of the Bound for Glory series, which is 6 months in the making, versus a match that's 2 weeks in the making.
1
week in the making?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Hogan just announced it like the previous week.
Yeah. I'm okay with it.
Okay, I mean, I agree. I just thought when I was first watching it, taking my mindset off the fact that it was the Bound for Glory setup, it did throw me off for a second. But I agree. It does make sense that that match.
It's almost, and this is kind of a stretch, almost like whenever they'll have the Royal Rumble after the World Title match, or after a WWE title match, the Royal Rumble is essentially just a big ass number one contenders match. But
do you think this is going to be the end of Anderson on TNA's TV?
Well,
there's been some rumors and talks about his contract.
Well, he caught a big enough of an ass whooping for it to be. Holy crap! That guy just got murdered out there.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. When's is his contract already up? What's the deal with
soon, if not already?
Okay, I don't know. At this point, I'm not going to worry about his contract being factored into this.
TNA will survive without Anderson.
Yeah, and Anderson will survive without TNA.
It's interesting you say TNA will survive. Just
we'll get there.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I liked, and I still like, even though it was just a week build up or whatever, I still like the storyline, and I think this story could have more legs on it if they gave it enough time. But I really liked all this stuff going on with the infighting of the aces and eights, the vice president trying to usurp the president, and all the bickering back and forth and all that. I liked it a lot.
I just thought of this. We didn't really talk about this before, but there's that one little quick backstage segment with Dixie and Hulk about Tito and Rampage being gone.
Yeah.
How much of that? What was the? Do we know anything about
How
that?
much of that was impromptu?
Yeah, because it seems kind of weird that they would say Bellator got nervous about them being on the TV and wanted to pull them. That sounds like it would be a legit thing in real life. Like Bellator was like,
I, to be honest, was surprised when they were doing when the Mafia would do the run-ins.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually, every time that they did it, I was more than surprised of how much Rampage was actually doing. Like, it wasn't just him standing there barking and pulling his chain. He was actually, like, throwing punches, throwing kicks. That might not seem like a lot to any wrestling fan, or it might not be a lot for any other wrestler to do.
All it takes.
You know, but having that kind of liberty there, I would not be surprised if somebody saw that and said, you know what? I'm not risking a pay-per-view fight in a legitimate sport for that right there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it would not shock me at all.
That's why when they did that, really kind of out of the blue, you know, and to take two characters that are kind of spotlighted on, you know, especially Tito because he's still newer to the whole scene. You know, this threw me as like, okay, that really happened, or is that just some other part of the plan here?
Maybe, but well, to go more off of what Chris was saying, aside from the physicality, you know, when you're doing all this training for MMA fights and or boxing fights, when you're training for one of these real sport type of fight things, not only are people concerned about, you know, the physicalness of it, which they could have been if they saw Rampage and Tito, you know, getting in there and getting physical, even though it wasn't all that much. It is also some of the focus. Like, they get so, trainers for those sports, they'll get so micromanagey that they can say, like, hey, you know, the week of the fight, you're not going to see your wife, and you're not going to have sex, and you're not going to, you know, do this and that. You're not going to eat this. You're not going to do that. You're not going to watch TV, because they want you completely focused on the fight. So
Don't
this
tell that
could
to
be
Ronda Rousey, because she likes having sex before her fights. And she has admitted it on air. So it just depends upon the gender bender, but
it would also depend on the coach.
Yeah.
But I could see how a coach would say, "Hey, all this stuff that you're doing in TNA, this is a distraction from you actually focusing on your game plan and your training and your resting for, you know, the real fight."
And on the opposite side of that coin, on TNA's side, they have a very long history of listening to what the fans want. Sometimes it's a good thing, sometimes it's a bad thing. It would not shock me if a lot of fans complained that the same complaint that we had, as far as they're not building up the feud, they're building up their fight. What the hell are they doing there?
That's a possibility.
That's a good point, yeah. That is a good point.
I mean, I would like to think TNA would listen to us that much, but yeah, I don't know.
Maybe it's a combination of both.
Or everything.
Yeah.
It could be TNA deciding that they wanted to part ways with them. It could be Bellator saying, "Hey, no, get my guys out of there." It could have been, you know, Tito and Rampage saying, "You know what, I'm not down with this." Yeah. Who knows? But you know, we kept talking, especially you, Chris, about this is a lot like ECW and Roller Jam. You know, there's some of us that are kind of thinking, okay, well, great. You know, now that conundrum isn't there anymore. We don't have to worry about that. But at the same time, it's like, you already spent so much time building these people into your storyline, and now you're just haphazardly getting rid of them on backstage.
Just like that, they're gone.
Oh, geez, come on. You know, it's
and
just,
not even that. Today, during the main event, he was talking about Bellator.
Yeah.
He was saying it, you know, after the show or whatever, you know, check out this match and this and that. I was like, really? They're still going to talk about Bellator?
Yeah, and they're still going to put over Bellator. It's like, you know...
Well, to their defense, they've been doing that before Tito and Rampage got there.
Yeah, it's still more of a network thing.
It's a network thing, because even during the main event match, oh my God, Bully Ray just slammed Ken Anderson. Don't forget, after tonight's main event, we're having Bellator live. They're doing this tournament for the lightweight division or whatever, and tune in. So don't change the channel. Put down the remote. Take out the batteries. You're watching this after the show.
To me, I felt that kind of disrespectful during that main event between AJ and Magnus. During just the middle of the match, TNA just goes off about Bellator. It's like, really? You have to do that during the match? You know,
your main event match.
Yeah, no kidding. If it was just a maybe mid-card opener match, maybe I could understand. But your main event, no, don't do that to your performers.
Well, speaking of the main event, you know, we kind of touched on it a little bit there, you know, when we were judging qualities of the matches and whatnot. But let's talk about this. AJ's the number one contender. Bully's still the champ. Bully versus AJ.
Before we even get there, knowing that was what's going to happen, I want to take a moment and give Magnus his due because he flourished during this entire tournament. Mm-hmm. He had a damn good match with Bobby Roode, and in a losing performance, he had a damn good match with Styles. Mm-hmm. And even though he didn't win the entire tournament, he
was on top for most of the tournament.
You think they made a star out of him?
You know, this is kind of like how I was saying last week that they've been flirting with him, but they still haven't gotten to first base.
Bound for Glory might be that date night, though.
Okay.
If something happens with Magnus, if they put him in a good spot at BFG and he comes out looking good and makes his opponent look good, that might be the start where, you know what, we're going to buy some stock into you. We're going to see where it goes.
Who do you think will be his opponent?
I don't know. It's like they're focused on the title match. That's it.
If they're going to break down this Aces and Eights main event Mafia feud, it has to be somebody from there. Size-wise,
nobody really.
Magnus against Nux would be pretty interesting. You know, Nux has been around the block. He's not a rookie. But
that wouldn't be a high-profile match for Magnus. That's like below him now, I think.
Well, it just depends how they set this up. Like if they go into Bound for Glory with this storyline where the Aces and Eights and Main Event Mafia has to culminate to something, or the TNA side has to culminate to something, then that would be a good place to put them, because the Aces and Eights, like we've noticed, Anderson's got taken out, D'Lo's gone, a couple of other guys from the roster starting to get watered out.
Hell, even on Main Event Mafia, Angle and Rampage.
Yeah.
You know? So now it's just those three. There's just Bang the Sting
and Sting
Samoa.
can't wrestle for the title, and he's
that's what I'm saying.
Not an in-ring competitor now.
I don't even want to focus about anything involving Aces and Eights. Just the fact that Nux, Bischoff, and Briscoe, they're like NWOB team. Like nobody really. They're just background characters, you know.
Well, that's a hell of a 6-man tag before the main event.
No, not for Bound for Glory. For maybe the Impact.
You know what? I can buy that.
Because what else would they do? What else would it make sense storyline wise if the Bound for Glory, the biggest pay-per-view of the year, the biggest storyline of the year being Aces and Eights versus Main Event Mafia, and you've got Sting and Samoa Joe and Magnus fighting Ego? Would that make sense? It will look pretty because, you know, obviously those guys that are in that mix from both sides can wrestle, but storyline wise, that wouldn't make a lick of sense. Storyline wise would be the culmination of Aces and Eights versus Main Event Mafia. So a 6-man between those 6 would be really good.
Even though the Aces and Eights side or Aces and Eights team would be a little bit lackluster as far as star power goes, you'll have the star power on the Main Event Mafia side. And if the stipulation is that, let's say, the losing team has to disband, you know, then that could be the end of the effing storyline.
Even
finally.
Easier every week building up to Bound for Glory. One week you'll get Magnus against Nux. Next week you'll get Joe against Bischoff. The next week you'll get Sting against Briscoe. Building up to that 6-man tag. Or even then, another week after that, you can get get Bischoff and Briscoe that have done tag work against Magnus and Joe, who have also done tag work, and then build that up week by week to the main event where it's the 3-on-3 and the losing team has to disband altogether.
Yeah.
You know, and then that's where somebody will do a run in for Aces and Eights at the last minute to try to do something stupid, and then, hey, what do you know? Somebody just popped out of rehab to make the save for Aces and Eights. I mean, for
Main Event Mafia.
You know, storyline wise.
Yeah. I think it could work.
I'm waiting for the check for booking that, by the way.
We'll have to wait and see on this one.
Yeah. Last note from TNA. Hogan. His contract's coming up soon.
Is it?
The second week of October, I think. Yeah. And I haven't heard anything so far whether he's renewing it or not.
No, someone like Hogan, he knows how to keep that kind of stuff quiet. That's not going to get. You know
what else is happening in October? Only 2 house shows announced for TNA.
That is kind of a scary thing, considering that before they went on the road, some of the TNA house shows were, their bread and butter. They really prided themselves on how well they did their house shows.
Let's timeline this real quick.
Okay.
Anderson's contract about to expire. Mickey James's contract expired. Hulk Hogan's contract about to expire. How many house shows in TNA in October? 2 of them.
Doesn't AJ? What? How long is his? He did an
AJ
extension.
had an extension. We don't know how long the extension is.
How many more dominoes are gonna fall before the whole thing's?
Well, did you hear about the interview Dixie did earlier today?
No.
About
another Dixie interview?
Yeah.
Oh God, here's another 30 minutes.
No. It was basically saying 2014, beginning of 2014, they're thinking about going back to a one studio recording.
Either going back to Orlando, or they were also thinking about maybe going to Vegas, but Vegas was kind of out of the question because it'd be too expensive. Yeah, or Nashville.
Not necessarily. You know, you got to weigh out the pros and cons. If they were for some reason to go back to Universal Studios, they'd be paying to be in Universal Studios. What kind of income would they be getting? None, because people just walk. They pull the people from the studio. Half of your crowd at that show are people that are just there to fill seats. Vegas, there's always people in Vegas
with money.
There's always people
with money.
Always people walking down the strip. Always people walking around. One of the best impacts. I don't know if you guys were watching it or being attentive as we are now. Back then, one of the best Impact tapings they ever had. They had a live Impact show at the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Vegas. That atmosphere was so badass. That was when the Main Event Mafia first started.
Yeah, it was different.
It was a whole different view, even different from the tapings now, even different from Universal Studios. At least there, you have a smaller place. You know, it won't be as expensive to rent out as opposed to all these other arenas that they're trying to fill half-assedly because they have 2 levels and they can barely fill the bottom one. Yeah. You know, and they have all that traffic of new people that are right there down the strip. We're hearing things of all these stars and entertainers setting up shop and doing shows just at Vegas. Mm-hmm. You know, if there's one place where they could succeed and people will actually buy the tickets to go to Vegas instead of just letting them in, that would be a pretty interesting place to do it in.
You know, I agree with all the stuff that you're saying there, but there was one report that I also saw. Of course, this is dirt sheets, so
take it for what it is.
Yeah, take it with a grain of salt. But one of the dirt sheets was saying that part of the cons that TNA was considering when it came to Vegas was that there was several times that TNA did house shows in Vegas and it didn't draw a great crowd, and they weren't happy with the crowd that they got.
Which is Vegas. I mean, how many people in Vegas?
Not to mention that West Coast, they really don't have a good history of the West Coast. They gave away half the tickets for the Bound for Glory they had at in
Guess
California
where Bound for Glory's at?
San Diego. Yeah.
No, I kind of like the idea of them going back to Nashville, hometown. It's where their headquarters are at. You know, you got ECW got Philly, WWE's got New York. Why can't they just stick with their home base?
I wouldn't like the idea of Orlando, not because of going back to where they've already been, but I think that market, that area, those fans, I think we've gotten enough of that.
They're so jaded with the wrestling down there. That's why I'm saying Nashville.
Yeah, that's why you're saying Nashville.
Yeah, I didn't say Orlando. Yeah.
Well, Nashville wasn't one of the locations that they were thinking about. They were thinking about going back to Orlando. But Nashville would be a good place to go.
It makes sense. They could reopen the asylum, you know, get that going again, you know.
If they're only going to if they really want to go risky, if they're only going to do 2 house shows a week or 2 house shows a month, why not go to UK? Two episodes of Impact, two nights of Impact where they take 2 episodes in 2 different arenas. You got a whole month done, and you've seen the times that they've gone over there to London, how they've sold out those places.
Yeah, the risk costs money. They're already saying it costs like $600,000 to $700,000 to go on the road. Yeah, you know, so and adding on, you know, staying over.
Well, I mean, if you decide to not go to Wichita Falls and to Timbuktu,
if you could sell out if you could sell out a 10,000 seat arena as opposed to struggling to fill a 1,000 seat arena, I mean, the risk might be worth the reward.
Yeah,
maybe they'd have to do some serious test markets on that.
Then again, look, we're not accountants. We don't know how much money they have and how much it costs to do all this stuff. So this is just complete wild speculation.
You don't need to be an accountant to know how to add. If you're not making money, then you're not making money.
Right. But
you know, if we've already seen all these people that aren't renewing their contracts or not coming back, and all of a sudden we're going house shows from 10 a month to 2 a month. You know, how much longer will you think they'll even make it to 2014 to try out another place?
I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. You know, but there's a lot of bad signs and a lot of red flags right now for TNA, and I hope it's just us as IWC members, us as people on the outside looking in, just saying that the sky is falling when it's really not. And I hope that Dixie knows what the hell they're doing, but you never know.
Also read that Jeff Jarrett's he's starting to come back and he's doing more stuff backstage now. Like before, he was staying at the headquarters, trying to do more deals.
Well, yeah, because Kurt Angle's in rehab, so now he can come back.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Anyway, so if Jarrett's back, maybe he starts kind of pulling in the reins a little bit, kind of get back in more control. Maybe it would be a little different from what Dixie's doing.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, he is a founder of TNA, and I would say he was pretty successful, in those first few years.
His vision was different.
Yeah.
He had all the different ideas out there. Because when Hogan came in, that's when they just said...
It would be nice if he's trying to build up the foundation again to that where once Hogan if he decides not to come back, Jarrett's already got plan B ready to roll.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it does seem kind of weird that once Jarrett was ousted, that's when it seems as though around the same time when TNA started to decline. So maybe...
Because Jarrett, his head wasn't in TNA. He was TNA, but he was trying to do like outside, trying to do international stuff, and he wasn't really focusing on the actual product. He was kind of letting, I guess, Dixie handle all that stuff.
Yeah.
Well, look what happened.
Yeah.
Hogan and Bischoff and Dixie.
Yeah, I mean, it's the thing in sports that, they say that sometimes the people that were good players are the ones that wind up making great coaches. Mm-hmm. And if you're a great player, you don't make a good coach. Well, I would think that Jarrett was a good wrestler. He wasn't a great wrestler. He was a good wrestler. And maybe he, wound up being a great promoter because he was a good wrestler. You see what I'm saying? So maybe it is Jarrett's the thing that needs to come back and take the reins back on from TNA and kind of right this ship. But, then again, I don't know. I mean...
Well, the last name like Jarrett Promotions is kind of in your blood.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They have a good track record. As the family does. And, yeah.
Okay, well, is that all TNA talk for today?
The show was at least very good enough to where I'm looking forward to next week, even if it's taped. And I haven't even read what happens.
And they also have the after AJ won, he got on the mic and used
Dixie. He tried the pipe bomb again.
Yeah.
I wouldn't consider that a pipe bomb that he tried to do. This is more...
He tried to cut a promo. Yeah.
I'm curious.
That's what I'm saying. I'm curious.
I'm watching.
The little AJ that could.
Chuckling.
All right. Well, let's move on. Let's talk about WWE.
All right.
Going back to us talking about, this weekend and, ROW and all the wrestling and blah, blah, blah. Well, we had the pay-per-view and we all watched it here, your place, Trav. We all had a grand old time. And we were sitting here watching, and we were having fun, basically because of the company. Whenever we all get together, we all have fun, but the pay-per-view itself wasn't necessarily the best pay-per-view.
Are you having buyer's remorse?
A little.
Yeah.
I'll be the first one to say that the first hour and a half of the pay-per-view was completely outclassed, outshined, out everything by the mid-season finale of Total Divas. And this is coming out of my mouth.
So Total Divas was better than the first hour and a half of the pay-per-view.
Yes.
Okay.
Let's splice in an audio clip from Chris when Total Divas first came on and play it right before that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll have some A1 with that crow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think what killed the first part of that pay-per-view was the intro.
Oh.
The Monday Night Raw began.
Yeah.
What was the first thing you said as soon as you saw Triple H come out?
I don't know. What did I say?
You said, "Oh man, well, I just paid for another episode of Raw."
Yeah, that's
yeah.
Right.
That was pretty much it. And you're right. You're exactly right. Like the whole perspective changed.
It dropped.
Like my interest just went from, "Oh man, I can't wait for this pay-per-view," to, "Oh, let's see what's on Facebook." Yeah. Oh, hey, people can't make it to TLC. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was your classic beginning of Raw opening segment with Triple H, and then someone interrupts, and then someone that interrupted was Heyman. I was like, oh, okay, well, this is interesting. We're having Heyman and Triple H, and then Triple H, just like on Raw, starts making matches, and that's when we get the Intercontinental title match against Kofi, which some of us are happy, and when I mean us, I mean the IWC. Some of the IWC was happy with the fact that the Intercontinental title was actually going to be defended, which is something that was a big complaint. That, you know, hey, it's Night of Champions, why aren't all the titles on the line?
Right,
well, okay, you right hit that wrong. But you did it impromptu in a opening
in a very
segment.
long segment that could have been condensed severely.
Exactly, and it was
maybe on the pre-show or something. You know,
Curtis Axel versus Kofi.
Yeah.
Honestly, I mean,
that match
who gave
was not good. Yeah.
And not even talking about the match, just the booking. Like, who gave a flying? You know what?
The booking isn't even the biggest problem with that. The adjustment that I had in the first hour of the show is even after Raw last night. The biggest problem right now is Triple H. And this isn't about, oh, he's burying so-and-so or what. It's not the issue. John Cena, we were talking about this earlier about me and you being in attendance at Survivor Series as was John Cena's first match as a face.
Right.
He didn't become a face because the company wanted him to be face. He became a face because after the weeks and months of battle rapping of his character, of his personality, people cheered him. It was organic. Right. Daniel Bryan, he was a heel. But the more that he walked out with his little Zoidberg dance doing yes, yes, yes down the ramp, or no, no, no down the ramp, people clinged on to it. And they liked the little vegan that could. And he became a face. That happened organic. Triple H is supposed to be the heel. He's not supposed to be making decisions that benefit the face.
Right.
He shouldn't be doing this against Curtis Axel. He shouldn't be trying to keep the belt away from Orton, which we'll talk about later. Triple H character right now is not an organic character. Right now, Triple H needs to be a penis.
Yeah.
And he's not being that completely. He's limp. Like, he doesn't know which way to go. You either be a heel or you be a face. And stick with it.
He was acting an awful lot like a face authority figure when he was talking there with Heyman.
Yeah.
You know, and, you know, I think that there's a part of me that wants to be like, well, traditionally, if you're a heel, you should side with all heels on the roster all the time. But I think what they're trying to do with this is experiment with, well, he's a heel, we should boo him, but with other characters that he doesn't like, regardless if they're heel or face, he'll just kind of screw him over anyway. If it just so happens to be another heel, well, he'll screw him over, even if it means the benefit for the fans. And while I like the fact that they're experimenting with that, I think the experiment isn't going quite as well as it should be. And I think that's where, you know, your complaint comes in, Chris, you know, that you know, it's not really working if he's doing what is perceived to be face-ish things against, you know, a heel, which being Paul Heyman. You know, it just didn't work. And even putting all that aside, doing an impromptu match on the pay-per-view.
Opening the pay-per-view
with an impromptu match that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I mean, there's a little bit of sense because Kofi, you know, whatever. But, like, that's really out of left field. Kofi versus, you know...
the length of the awesome tag team turmoil match that we got in the pre-show. Swap that with the whole Triple H promo with Curtis Axel and Brock and Paul Heyman.
Yes.
That would have made everyone happy on both
absolutely.
ends.
Yeah.
You know, having a tournament to build up to the tag match on the pay-per-view and having the pre-show build up to where the people that are and keep it a mystery to where the people that are still like, I don't know if I want to buy it because not all the belts are defended, finally get their wish before the pay-per-view starts and they can actually get the last bit of buys.
Yeah.
You know, switching those two booked around would have been perfect both ways.
You know what? You're right. That would have been good because then you would have been like, okay, well, we have an Intercontinental title match impromptu on the pre-show with Heyman and Triple H all coming out and talking. Like, that would have been like, okay, well, this is interesting.
It's not affecting the pay-per-view.
Yeah, it wouldn't have bogged down the pay-per-view.
Right.
Yeah.
If the pay-per-view started off with that turmoil match, oh man, that would have changed the aspect of that pay-per-view all around.
Even better, start the turmoil match with like 3 minutes left in the pre-show and let it bleed into the pay-per-view.
Oh yeah, that would be good too.
You know,
tag team turmoil match of the week candidate or no?
Only because there was better tag matches on the pay-per-view and on Raw the next night. I would say no, but that doesn't mean it wasn't a good match because it was really good.
Okay, I can buy that. Trav, do you have an opinion?
Yeah, I'm going to agree with him.
Yeah, I agree with him too. Okay. It's close to being a match of the week candidate, but we already are going to have way too many match of the week candidates. This one just...
You had teams in there that just didn't belong in that.
Like 3MB?
In Tons of Funk.
Yeah.
Not that I don't like seeing 3MB.
Not that I don't like seeing Tons of Funk.
You mean Bowser?
Yes.
But not in a number one contenders match for the titles on a pay-per-view. No.
Yeah.
They didn't belong there.
Okay.
They actually did a better job on Raw the next night, which we'll get to later.
Yeah.
So
okay. Well, let's talk about the goods of the pay-per-view, because we said the first hour and a half was kind of bleh, and part of the whole reason why the first hour and a half was bleh was because of this whole thing with the start. But let's fast forward and skip to what was good. I want to talk about Curtis Axel versus CM Punk and Paul Heyman.
you mean CM Punk versus Curtis Axel and Brock Heyman?
What did I say?
You said Curtis Axel against CM Punk and Paul Heyman.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Oh, oops. My bad. Check the tape. Okay. Well, that match. Yeah, that was pretty good. Curtis Axel, and Punk, it wasn't great, that part of the match. I mean,
we all knew what was going to happen.
It met my expectations, and we all knew what was going to happen.
Right,
yeah. What I didn't know what was going to happen was the fact that Punk actually got his hands on Heyman for a pretty decent amount of time. Yeah, sure, he was all padded underneath that tracksuit, we can all tell. But if you suspend disbelief, because after all, this is wrestling, hey, he got his hands on Heyman and he beat him like a government mule. So we got that. It just wasn't until it finally got to the finish him part that's when all the shenanigans happened that I expected to happen before he got his hands on Heyman. And the whole thing where we were talking about last week, who's going to be the Paul Heyman guy, all that suspicion, well, it came to a head, and yes, you're right. Good call, Travis.
Oh, yes.
Right back.
Before we even get to that, I loved, if you guys didn't catch it, Punk changing it up when he walked out to the ring. Instead of doing his clobbering time, he said, "Time to die."
Yeah, that was pretty crazy.
I knew you yelled something different. I know it wasn't clobbering time, but I didn't catch what he said.
Yeah, he said "time to die," which way to play into the storyline there, Punk. Good job, way to go.
Yeah.
But Ryback, I'm okay with this.
I thought whenever he speared him through the table, I thought he hurt himself.
Well, he got that big old scratch on his back.
No, I'm talking about Ryback.
Oh, Ryback.
Because Ryback did it to him, and he just kind of sat there for a second.
Maybe he beamed his own head against the table a little bit.
Maybe, I don't know. There was some kind of something didn't work with that gimmick with that table. So
Man, Punk took a licking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Punk really did. That was a rough spot right there.
And that's just another reason why the storyline just works so well with Punk, because it's one thing to say it and it's one thing to do the moves, but when you have week after week of Punk getting destroyed and you can see it on him. That goes back to my defense of what the storyline with Punk without matches, without him talking, is better than Punk promos with him talking, because the visual of him being beat up, the visual of him aging, the visual of the blood falling from his back, bruises, all that. You don't need an explanation. You don't need closed captioning. You don't need subtitles. You see it, you feel it, you understand. Done.
It's storytelling in the ring.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Awkward silence.
Wait.
Okay. So, what was even better is the fact that Ryback, of all people, doesn't like bullies.
Yeah.
Right, of course.
Who'd have thunk it?
This makes perfect sense.
Oh my god. Awesome.
So, do we want to jump over to Raw about the right kiss?
Yes,
Oh my God.
why not? I'm totally down with Ryback being the new Paul Heyman guy. I think it's a good fit. I think it gives Ryback something to do, and with Heyman being his mouthpiece, because let's face it,
In
Ryback,
more ways than one.
I know.
Right. Let's face it, Ryback's not the best on the mic. He's not the worst. He's no Brock Lesnar.
He can get the job done.
He can get the job done. But with Heyman, this will really put him into the next stratosphere. But then, with this twist, Heyman sealing the deal, if you will, with a little peck on the cheek.
If he just does that with someone that saved him once, imagine what he and Lesnar do in their private time.
Oh my.
Armbar.
Heyman just had a priceless look on his face, like he had a man crush on Ryback. The whole promo, the whole time Ryback was talking, Heyman was just up there starry eyed and everything, just looking at him.
Well, it's a good thing he was sitting down the whole time.
Apparently, yeah.
Yeah, that was awkward, but it works. And that just kind of says something about Heyman. Heyman's able to pull off all this stupid crap, this weird stuff. If this was somebody else, it wouldn't work. But Heyman makes it work. And you know what? He just kissed Ryback on the cheek, and Ryback just reacted like this is the best thing that ever happened in his career, which it probably is the best thing.
And I laughed my ass off.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I don't even know if that's the reaction that we're going for, but I laughed my ass off. And I'm like, alright, I'm in. Heyman is the tie that binds.
Yes.
Like, he's bringing everything together. And to Travis's point, where he likes the Punk-Heyman feud because it's bringing in Axel, it's bringing in Ryback, it's bringing in all the other people that are that's being pulled by the gravity, which is Lesnar which is Punk and Heyman. It's getting better.
Yeah.
And real quick about that.
Mm-hmm.
When they all came out, Axel was, wheeling him out in the wheelchair, and then he just kind of walked away. Is this I was like, really? He can't even stand out there for a promo? He has to go in the back?
The Intercontinental Champion saved face by just walking.
Well, I did also notice that detail.
I know it was all about Ryback this one time, but the fact that he's part of the group, and he couldn't even stand up there. He had to walk away. Maybe he knew it was going to happen. Maybe he knew he was being traded in. Or
it wasn't his moment.
Yeah,
yeah.
He can't feel too bad because he got put into a match before that. So maybe
that, and he pulled double duty at the pay-per-view. So
he was just tired.
Yeah, that's what it was. He was tired. He was just like, here you go, Paul. I'll let Ryback handle the rest.
I'll let Ryback handle you.
Ooh, oh my, that was after.
Yeah.
Well, do you want to say that this is kind of leaning towards and feeling more and more like the Heenan family?
They need more guys, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I've said this before, and you said no. I said this, he's like this generation's Bobby Heenan. You're like, no.
Or Chris?
Chris. And Chris is like, no, he's the first Paul Heyman.
Oh, that's true.
I was like, yes, I know, but compare the two. I mean, even more so now, just with the characters in him, with Punk, chasing him around the ring, and him being Stormy and trying to get out of the way. That's like Heenan.
I won't call him the next Heenan until I see Heyman in a weasel suit.
Well, hey, you know what?
What if he's in a walrus suit?
I was about to say.
All right.
I was about to say, because you got, he was the weasel, now we got the walrus.
Yeah.
So now we got...
They both start with W.
Yeah. So I'm sticking with that.
I see what you guys are doing.
I'm sticking with the fact that he's this generation's Heenan.
Because apparently walruses are more hardcore than weasels.
Yes, they are. They're bigger, too. Yeah.
Anyway, okay.
Okay.
So, are we done with that part?
I think I'm done with that. Let's move on. The other thing that was good about the pay-per-view was...
Oh, we're still talking about that.
Yeah, we kind of are. Well, we're kind of flip-flopping back and forth. Match of the week candidate, I want to nominate it. Orton versus D-Bry.
I thought you were going somewhere else with that.
Okay. Sorry. No, I was still talking about the pay-per-view. Stuff that we liked from the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Orton versus D-Bry. It was very good, of course. We expected it to be good. Damn it, it's D-Bry in a high-profile match for the title. And Orton, like you said last week, Orton's no longer to you Blandy Borton. He's interesting now. I'm tending to agree. I want to lean that way, although I'm not completely on that side of the fence. But I'm leaning there. I'm getting there. But that match, good, really good. Here's the only problem that I had with it. I could not enjoy the ending. I couldn't enjoy it.
I was about to say the exact same thing. That was my one complaint.
Yeah. I mean, D-Bry won, and he got to keep the title, and it was a legitimate win, but I couldn't enjoy it because I kept thinking, all right, when's Triple H coming out and reversing it? All right, well, when's the Shield showing up and beating him up? Okay, when's Stephanie gonna do this? When's an RKO gonna come out of nowhere? Like, I just kept waiting for the thing to happen. Like, I could never get that moment of, yeah, you finally won, and just like completely mark out. I could never get there because I kept having to be like, okay, where's the screw job? Where's the screw job? Especially after the fast count, which at the time, on that night, on Sunday night, not on Monday, on Sunday night, I was like, I don't think that's a work fast count. I think that was just the ref getting overexcited and, counting a little bit faster than he normally would. It's not like a blatantly fast count, so it's not like...
You didn't think that was part of the show?
At the time, no. I didn't think it was part of the show. I thought it was just, hell, okay, this is the go home of the match. All right, cool. This is going to be great. 1, 2, 3, and he just counted too fast than what he should have. I was proven wrong come Monday, but that's what I really thought.
What did you think? Did you think it was...
He looked like he had to go to the bathroom. Let me get this over with. Bah, bah, bah.
Okay, that's not answering the question. Do you think that was part of the show?
I didn't think it was part of the show.
Really? Wow. To me, it was obvious it was part of the show, but...
And you know what? Online, on Twitter and everything, it was down the middle, 50-50.
You know why I didn't think it was... You know why I didn't think it was like part of the storyline? Because I was under the impression that the second referee that was brought in by Triple H. And the fact that the original referee in the match said... You can sit back down, Zebra. I started this. I'm going to finish this. That's where I felt that, Triple H's lackey was the one that already went. Watching the episode after that on Monday, I'm starting to think that Armstrong and Triple H are the ones that have something in common. But at the time when it happened, I thought Triple H was the one behind the referee that ran in, not the referee that started and finished.
Right. Yeah. So, okay, well, Trav, you weren't marks like us and fell for it. You kind of saw through it, so let's hear your perspective.
What I was going to say was the whole fast count, it was kind of stupid in the first place. It's the fact that he knocked him out with the flying knee, pretty much. So that was... Because he didn't kick out right at the...
Do you have a problem with the finish? With that flying knee finish?
No.
No?
I like that finisher.
Okay.
Why? Do you?
I like it too. Do you have a problem, Chris?
Not really a problem. It's not that I don't like it, because I like it a lot. It looks sick. It's just, it felt like when we were watching it live, the crowd was surprised by it.
I think they're still getting used to the fact that it's his finisher now.
Or a finisher.
Yeah.
Because most of his other moves involve him running to the turnbuckle and then flying drropkick, kick, or running to the turnbuckle and close, and they just think it's another move.
Right, because he just started doing it.
The only problem that happens is, like Shawn Michaels, he builds up his super kick. He didn't do that in the beginning, He just did it, and after a while, it's too soon for that flying knee to become the finisher that everybody misses the first time. Mm-hmm. So the fact that they're letting this happen organically, just do it, make it seem serious, and then maybe down the road he can build up to it. Like he'll just slap his knee, or do some kind of build to it where the fans will know this isn't my running drop kick, this isn't me going crazy, this is me about to kill this guy.
Yeah.
That way, it'll give that room to solidify the move before we have people already like countering it or ducking it. Like when Bryan does his kicks and then he swings back for that, and then people are already ducking it.
That's getting old.
I know. Like we didn't even get a chance for that move to settle. Like I love seeing that. Even when the crowd does it, like it's even more so. I like that move, and the fact that he's barely started using that and already wrestlers are ducking it or countering it. Like it kind of makes it. That was at one time one of his finishing moves. That kick.
It took like wrestlers 10 years to finally start kicking out of a DDT.
Yeah, and now all of a sudden, like muscle busters and famoussers are like setups.
Without getting like too off tangent here on finishers, I was never for Shawn Michaels doing the kick,
the stomp,
the tuning up the band.
Tuning up the band, yes.
And it got really bad, like towards the end. Right towards the end of his career, people were starting like to not besides clapping, but they were like chanting like 1, 2, 3.
Counting how many times he stopped.
Really? Why? Okay, it got out of control for that.
It was so worn out that I was more than surprised and pleased when Ric Flair's retirement match. He didn't duck it. He's like, "Give it to me. I'll finish this." And Shawn apologized, and he just he knocked them the F out with that kick, or it looked like it.
Yeah.
And that's the first time that someone's fallen from that kick. The first time in eons before he finally did that with Ric Flair. And even when he wrestled after that, he still tuned up and people still ducked it the first time. And, and that's, I wasn't a big fan of that.
The only thing I liked about the stomp warm-up thing on that is that when he doesn't do it, it's that more badass whenever he does his, pull it out just like that.
When it's out of nowhere.
Yeah. Anyway, okay, we're getting off track here.
All right, yeah, so that's off track. Back on track. That match of the league candidate, there's a lot of good things to say about it, but like I said, I wasn't able to enjoy it. enjoy the ending.
I couldn't agree more. I couldn't enjoy the end of the match.
Okay.
For that reason, I have a match of the week pick, which is D-Bry versus Roman Reigns on Raw.
Okay, and I am good with that pick.
From start to finish.
Mm-hmm.
Because in that kind of a match, we already know what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of Shield's going to come try to finish off the job.
Right.
You know? And we finally got the payoff with the guy saying, "The hell with this shit," finally running down to the ring.
Finally. God, that's been a real long time.
They were lucky, because if they would have pushed that any further, people might have checked out.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That was perfect timing
Mm-hmm.
for that roster to clear out. And even then, Roman still got a spear on
Oh, that
Kofi
was
that looked
beautiful.
massive.
Yes.
I know.
Yeah.
In the midst of all that chaos, in the right smack in the middle, bam, right there.
You know, and then of course everybody pulling off their finishers on Ambrose, that looked good too. So,
RVD's spinning kick to Ambrose's face.
Yes.
Oh my god.
you know, most of the time when we have a big cluster like this, it's like real sloppy. Everyone's just throwing fists,
Right.
and you know, it's like it's just a cluster. Nobody cares. But this cluster, this one looked good because people were actually pulling out spots
It was
and pulling
beautiful.
out moves.
It was a beautiful little
And it
cluster
didn't
fuck.
even bother me that it was backwards. Usually clusterfucks, the faces are shorthanded and they still find a way to pull through. This one was 3 heels against half of the face locker room, and the heels were still holding their own.
Yeah.
Obviously by the spear that Reigns got in halfway through it.
You know, I think it was 3 faces to each heel.
4,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, it was something like that. Like each one of the members
There
of
was a
Shield
lot.
were,
Yeah.
you know.
And Orton ducked out and ran.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he's like, my job's done. I'm going home.
Yeah. So that was a good moment, and you know, there's part of me that feels like, man, this moment would have been a lot better if somehow D-Bry had the title at the end of it. But you can only ask for so much sometimes. But that was definitely a great way to end a Raw.
Yeah.
You know.
All right, so I'm gonna ask you guys.
Okay.
Now that we got Reigns out of the way, each of the Shield have had one-on-one matches with Daniel Bryan.
Thank you. I was gonna want to ask that.
Which of the 3 did you? Which combination do you like better?
Rollins.
You bastard! I was gonna say Rollins.
Is that the ROH-ness in you guys that are making that call?
Maybe so. I would say
No, it's not for me.
I would say a very close second would be Reigns. I think his match with Ambrose was the least.
Yeah.
Like, it was further behind than all. Like, again, this is splitting hairs. All 3 of those damn matches were really good.
For its own reasons.
All 3 of those matches have been matches of the week, at least for my pick anyway. You know, it was D-Bry versus Ambrose. That was my match of the week, 2 weeks ago. D-Bry versus Rollins was my match of the week last week. This week, D-Bry versus Reigns is my match of the week pick. So, I mean, these are all really great matches. But yeah, if I would have to pick out of those 3, which one was the best, I would say Rollins by a hair, followed by Reigns, and then a distant third would be Ambrose.
Distant third Ambrose, really? Wow.
Yeah, a distant. Well, distant for the fact that they're all, like, one's 9.9, one's 9.8, the other one's like 9.4. Okay. You know, if we're going on a scale from 1 to 10, they're still all like over 9. Those are really
like
good matches.
Right? Miz fan over here.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's talk about Miz for a second.
Well, no, wait, hold on.
What?
You didn't let Chris decide what his best out of those 3 were. Those 3 matches.
No. I was very surprised by Reigns.
You want to say
The
Reigns?
fact that, because I've already seen what Bryan and Rollins can do. A lot of the beatdowns when the Shield first started, or the 6-man tags, a lot of it was mostly Ambrose against Bryan. So even before they had singles, I already know what they could do. I was really surprised by Reigns.
Mm-hmm.
That his first main event singles match, it was really good. I was surprised. And for that, like you said, by a hair, I would put Reigns on top.
I liked the, I'm the big guy and I'm going to toss you around and be physical.
The visual of him doing his, like, Superman on crack, tearing the shirt.
Yeah.
Before trying to drop that powerbomb. Him catching Bryan's half suicide dive.
Oh, God. Yeah.
He knows what he's doing.
Yeah. Yeah. Him trying to pull out that really physical type of moves versus the small, quick technician guy that makes for a good David Goliath type match.
And it just shows the versatility of Daniel Bryan, that he can have a match against a technical-ish wrestler like Dean Ambrose, a flying-ish wrestler like Seth Rollins, and an animal carnivore like Reigns, and still be able to have great matches with all three of them just shows how good Bryan
All
is.
three of those matches were different, and all three of those matches
Yeah.
were good in their own right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, now let's move on to what you were wanting to talk about. You want to talk about The Miz.
Well, talking about Orton, I'm going to say, just to piss you off.
Okay.
If those were my
Orton-
parents, I'd never have them in camera. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
Orton is match of the week candidate.
Oh, get the hell out of here. No.
In Miz's defense, that's probably some of the best storytelling he's done in the past 2 years.
Yes.
That he's done. Yes.
he's done.
His parents, on the other hand, not so much.
Not just the parents.
Yeah.
Orton DDTing the Miz off the
Yes.
railing, the mom really selling it, and then the penis next to him going, awesome! Totally awesome!
And his dad is like...
His dad was like 5 marijuana joints in the night already. He's like, yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, where's RVD?
His dad was like so no-selling everything. That was so ridiculous.
Bret Hart, 4 out of 10, man. Jeez.
Yeah, seriously. But, like you were saying, Miz did a good job himself, really selling everything, really taking his ass whooping the way, Hey, are you getting more Kool-Aid?
Yeah,
He's getting more Kool-Aid.
I know if this happened anywhere other than Cleveland, he wouldn't have gotten that same reaction.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
That's very true. Very, very true. He did benefit greatly from
So
being
they did
in the
this.
hometown.
They picked him on the right week to do that.
Yeah.
Orton storyline part.
Mhm.
So,
And hey, it gives more heat to Orton, so why not?
what do you think of Stephanie telling Orton, "Where's that older Orton? Where you handcuffed my husband? You DDT'd me. Where is that guy at?"
Yeah, she still wants it.
She's in that kind of stuff.
Yeah, she wants the Viper.
She likes the rough stuff.
Yeah.
We like where this is going.
Yeah.
You guys are noticing it?
What?
They're already building up the Survivor Series match.
Yes.
We've already got Cody fired. We've got The Miz beaten to shit. And then Bryan getting screwed over like a whore.
Cody, Miz, Christian, Ziggler, Bryan. Those are the 5 for Survivor Series.
So you've got Triple H coming back to wrestle.
Okay, yeah, on the other team, Shield, Orton, Show. I think somehow
You're gonna force. That's awesome.
they're gonna force Show to be on that team. That's what it'll be. And either Show will be totally like bought in by that time, or he'll still be reluctant enough, but they have enough control on him that he'll actually play ball with them anyway. But that's still a slow burn.
That's
We're
awesome.
talking about 2 pay-per-views from now. We still have Battleground in between. So, but yeah, those are the 5. Because eventually Christian's going to come back and he's going to be pissed, for what he did, there with jumping them just to get at Edge. So yeah, that'll definitely be.
It's interesting. I mean, that makes sense what you're saying about that. I wasn't thinking of that. I did see the build up here. I was, thinking D-Bry. I was putting Ziggler in there.
I just did.
Did you say him?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, okay. Well, we're getting close to it then.
Yeah.
But I didn't go with Christian, and I can't remember my pick. So now that I'm like listening to your thing, I can't remember mine was. It's better than mine though. So.
Thank you.
I was having this huge erection.
That's not any different than normal.
Oh, well, thanks. Thinking about the possibility for one night only at Hell in a Cell, bringing back War Games and having Orton and the Shield against Bryan, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, Cody, and Dustin in a War Games style match in that cage.
Are you saying you really want to see Dusty Rhodes in another match?
Dusty Rhodes on television, man. You saw that promo? He could sell.
It's a promo. It's not a match.
He can sell condoms to a nun. He can sell that match. He can be in there for 5 minutes.
If it's a big cluster match like that, he can get away with it.
Yeah, he can get away with it. The workhorses would be, in no particular order, Bryan, Goldust, Cody.
Okay, if not, then at least have Dusty in the corner or something. If you don't want him in the match.
Yeah.
I can see him being there for moral support, being in the corner, but not in the match. Get out of here.
And then he joins the NWO and turns on him.
Oh, God.
Oh, wait, no.
All right. Is that enough of that?
No.
No, okay.
We're still talking about the pay-per-view. We're still talking about one match that I thought you were going to bring up that you were going to make match of the week candidate. Millions of dollars, millions of dollars, millions of dollars.
Yeah, Primetime Players versus the Shield.
Holy Jesus on a stick.
That was a pretty good match.
Really good.
I'm surprised that Primetime Players didn't take it, because after all, they were my pick to win, and, I get my reasons for that last week. But it was still a darn good match.
The thing that stood out to me the most, it's obviously Darren's getting attention because of his personal life. But between Night of Champions on Sunday and the crowd reaction he got on Monday after the end of Raw during the run-in, Titus O'Neil is fucking over, dude.
Titus is over. He's over, and he's improved in the ring a lot.
I'm surprised how over, though. You have RVD, you have Daniel Bryan, you have other faces in the ring, yet the crowd made the effort to do the Titus O'Neil seal dog barking as opposed to Daniel Bryan's yes or RVD's thumb pointing. That says something.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, the whole tag team aspect of it, where you could just see like Out of Rhythm white guys and a whole bunch of other people doing the millions of dollars dance as soon as the music hits. I mean,
they've been doing that.
I can't wait to see where that goes.
I don't know. I like the match. I don't want to say I'm glad they didn't win, but I didn't want them to win because of what you were saying. The reason they should win. I'm still against that.
Okay.
But I did notice they are kind of protecting Darren. Like on the when they won the Turmoil match, Darren Young got the pin.
Okay.
Whenever they lost the title match, Titus took the fall.
Okay.
I did notice that. But other than that, I don't see any other changes to anything with. I mean, they weren't even on Raw other than the big,
That's true. They weren't on Raw except for when they almost wishboned D-Bry there. Titus was too tall to be doing that with Darren. they were almost going to pull D-Bry's
That was the
legs
first
apart.
time that last night that if no one would have ever told me, I would have been able to tell you, man, Darren's awfully gay. He was overly happy holding Brian up there. Look at his facial expressions.
Yeah,
he looks like, man, if he went from 6 to midnight, you could tell.
Yeah, but that was part of the story. He had to be excited for him. Everybody was supposed to be excited for him. But all right, okay. What else do we have here?
This is your show, man. You tell us.
Yeah, I don't know.
Your opinions on the Big Show. How do you think Big Show's handling this whole storyline?
That's where I wanted to go. That's what this was. I really, really liked the segment there with Big Show and Stephanie, and how, she was kind of really manipulating him again, and, forcing him to do, to basically hit, what's his name?
Dusty.
The old guy. Yeah, Dusty.
Dusty Rhodes.
Dusty Rhodes.
If you will.
I really liked it. The whole way that it just played out, where, okay, well, if you're not going to do it, we're going to have the Shield do it. And then Big Show's like, oh, hold on. And this was kind of a mercy killing on Big Show's side of it. It's like, if you get beat up by the Shield, you're going to suffer, and I'll feel even worse. So I may as well just knock you out, and you'll get knocked out, and you won't feel anything. So let me just go ahead and do that. And to add to it, he caught him. Knowing if you were to hit a guy
He
that
hugged him
old,
before he even punched him.
he did that, and he said, "I'm sorry," kind of like what you referenced earlier with Shawn Michaels and Ric Flair with the just hit me, oh, I'm sorry, apologize, and then boom, he apologized to him, said, "I'm sorry," hit him, and then make
Dusty
sure
was just shaking his head. It's like, okay.
Dusty was like, okay, and before he even hit the ground. Because, he's an old guy. If he gets knocked out and he falls over, he could break a hip. Before he could hit the ground, he grabs him, holds him, and, it's like, lets him down easy. It was really great.
And the 5 seconds after that just solidified how much of a bitch Stephanie McMahon is.
Oh, I know!
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God!
She's stealing everyone's thunder right now.
Yeah.
She's the man right now.
Yeah.
In that whole storyline. Not that as much as we like Daniel Bryan, as much as we're enjoying Orton's improvement, Triple H, whatever.
Stephanie's she's controlling, she's like the puppeteer on it all.
Just like Heyman's the puppeteer on his section, on a bigger scale, Stephanie's pulling the strings on everything.
Yes.
And it's marvelous. I will say it every week that I see him do it, I still will not buy Big Show fake crying.
Yeah.
I can't stand the face. I can't stand
It was better this week than what it was last week, though. It was more believable with the high emotion and the high drama and all that with hitting the old man.
I can see that.
You know.
But everything else just superseded it.
I will say I really like that segment. Like, I know you sometimes like to do segment of the week. Yeah. I really liked it up until Shield's music hits. And Dusty, I hate it when Shield music hits and the guy just stands in the ring, just waits for Shield to come out.
Yeah.
Like, Dusty Kid's like, okay, see ya, I'm out of here. And he just walked away. But no, he's like, sit there, like, you know, like, you don't know. And
Dusty's last words in front of Stephanie McMahon's face was awesome.
Yeah, where he told her you could go to
Go
hell,
to hell.
and
Yeah.
just like said it in this old man
The
way. Like,
American
I'm
dream,
yeah.
the plumber's son, actually went down to Stephanie's level.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen Dusty Rhodes talk like that before.
No, he didn't. I mean, he
Ever.
even said, I'm not Dusty Rhodes and I'm Virgil Runnels. You know,
Yeah.
that right there
That
set
was
the tone.
awesome. Yeah. That
That's
was
what I
awesome.
said. That was that promo just between them two. You saw how manipulative and corporate and bitchy she is compared to the old timer. You know, the legend. You know,
Hell, before Stephanie even came out, that Dusty was preaching.
yeah.
You know, we were like, "Amen,
So I
Dusty."
was looking for the donation box.
Yeah, man.
No, I mean, I'm just talking about like when she comes out and he's like, "Let's get down to business," and she's like, "Okay, here's what," and he like kept cutting her off. He's like, "No. We're not playing this game. Here's what you're gonna do." And she was like, and like when he yelled in her microphone, like when she kept trying to cut him off, it's like, "No, you know," that was just very. You could really see that there was actual tension there.
Yeah, there was a nice.
That looked like that went off script for a second.
Yeah,
Yeah.
When he yelled in her microphone like that, I was like, "Oh."
yeah, there was a lot of nice clash of characters going there as well. You know,
Because
the
he was
corporate.
being the father, you know. He was
Yeah.
like, "Okay, no, we're not playing these games. You're going to reharm our son, and this is how it's going to be." You know, he got fired on a whim, you know, and everything he was saying was so believable and like, yeah, you know,
Dusty Rhodes.
yeah. I mean, not even that. I mean, that helped, but I mean,
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, it is Dusty Rhodes and it is Stephanie McMahon. They both have been in charge of creative at different points of their career. So I would imagine that it's kind of like two really big directors getting in front of the camera and acting out how they imagine it to be instead of, you know, directing two actors to do it. You know, they're finally saying, look guys, this is how we do it. This is how we're going to imagine it to do it. And they went out there and performed it and did it. And they went to the back and they said, yeah, do it like that. You know?
There's been several times during many of Steve Austin's podcasts where he would mention that if you're not believing what you're saying, how are the people at home are going to believe what you're saying? The
Right.
whole storyline build up to that promo with Dusty Rhodes and the way he said it, because it was so personal to where the storyline was coming from, it was so easy to just like fall into it.
Yeah.
It was so good.
and then making him to choose between Dustin and Cody. Oh, jeez.
Yeah, that, you know, I was expecting at some point, Goldust to come out and say, you know what, just go ahead and give it to Cody. My career is, you know, that ship has already sailed. I've already had my run. Give it to Cody, or something along those lines to wind up actually happening. But then again, that would have meant that we would have to have had Goldust there in the arena, which they made such a big deal about, you know, Dusty being there and not Dustin. So, you know, but I could have seen that making sense, but then we would have lost the rest of that segment. So it wound up being good the way it was.
Right. Okay, move on.
Man. Okay.
Rap.
Ziggler versus Ambrose on Raw.
Wow.
Another match of the week candidate. That match was better than the match on the pay-per-view.
And on SmackDown.
Yeah.
Those first two matches were dull and boring. This match on Raw, it was awesome.
Yeah, this one was actually
It
a
was
good one.
intense. I mean, they didn't have any wrestles or anything like that. They went out for it.
Yeah, we had all this concern for Ziggler and whether or not this was a demotion for Ziggler, fighting for the U.S. title, this and that. Well, if he's going to continue putting on matches with Ambrose like this, then okay, I might be all right with it. And this match is pretty good. I want to give this match of the week candidate status. Like I said, my match of the week pick has been Reigns versus Debray, but
All right, I want to say something real quick about this because we talked about being, a step down for Ziggler. In this particular storyline, it's not, because Debray is the top guy.
yeah.
And if they want to include Ziggler in the storyline, well, he's got to win a title from someone.
Okay.
And the
If
U.S.
he's
title.
tied to the main feud of the whole company, that's not a demotion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It just so happens that's the title that another guy has.
Yeah.
You know, so
As opposed to Punk and Axel, which is like the middle of nothing.
Yeah,
Even
that
though
would,
it's good for what it is on its own level, not even though it's not the biggest thing. So I can see where you're coming with that conclusion. I agree.
Okay. So specifically this match, what do you think?
match was a candidate. Yeah.
Okay.
Hell yeah. There were some sick bumps in that match.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Is that all our match of the league candidates? Let's see. Well, let's go back over it. Aries versus AJ on Impact. Magnus versus Rude on Impact. Shield versus Primetime Players from the pay-per-view. D-Bry versus Reigns from Raw. And then Ziggler versus Ambrose on Raw. Is that it?
And you picked Orton versus D-Bry at the pay-per-view. I don't know if you
Oh, yeah. Orton versus... Yeah, sorry. I almost forgot that one. Well, okay, so 2 for Impact, 2 for the pay-per-view, and 2 from Raw. Whew, holy crap. There's a lot of good wrestling going on. I don't know why I said it like that.
I don't know, but last 2 months, TNA's free pay-per-views are the Thursdays right before WWE's pay-per-views.
True.
That can't be a coincidence. Or maybe it could be, I guess.
And it seems as though they're stepping it up on those shows.
Yeah, obviously.
No Surrender was darn good. What was the last one that was before the last
Hardcore
Pay-Per-View?
Justice.
Was it Hardcore Justice? Yeah, that was damn good. Even go back before then. Destination X was damn good. They're in ring. They pick it up on these big pay-per-view, free pay-per-view, whatever you want to call them, impacts.
I was rewatching Impact earlier, and I just caught that. I was like, wait a minute. I remember this happened when we were talking about last month, that it was on the same weekend as that, so whatever.
Yeah.
So, what was your pick?
The pick was D-Bry versus Reigns.
What was yours?
I'm picking Primetime Players against Shield from the pay-per-view.
Wow.
What's yours?
Just to be different, I'm going to go with AJ and Austin.
Okay. That sounds good. Listeners?
It's tough. It was a tough call because there's so many
That's
matches.
a very diverse group.
That's
why I did that.
So, listeners, if you want to weigh in on what you think should be match of the week, let us know. Send us a tweet at HWrestlingRadio or go to Facebook.com/Houston Wrestling Radio and leave us a comment and see what you think. All right.
And then buy a shirt.
And yes, buy a shirt. Well, we'll get to that. All right. One last thing of WWE talk before we wrap it up. We had a question posted to us on our Facebook page, basically asking, what if right now...
Who posted it?
It was Jeff Milheims. And...
Thanks for the question, Jeff. What was the question?
All right, this is what he said. Interesting question for you. If Daniel Bryan goes down in a freak injury, who is WWE's go-to guy with both Sheamus and Cena out? Would it be Ziggler? Would it be RVD? Right now, yeah. If something were to happen to D-Bry, yeah, knock on wood, yeah, exactly. If something were to happen to D-Bry, who's the next man up?
No, I'm not going for D-Bry getting hurt. I'm going for RVD. There's a reason why we didn't talk about him at all on the show, and I'm surprised we went this far without doing it. I don't want RVD anywhere near any kind of gold, silver, bronze, platinum, aluminum, I don't care kind of belt, no.
That coast to coast was pretty cool, though.
Not like it hasn't been done.
It's still a cool move.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was.
The Punk storyline needs more air to grow. I would leave that alone. RVD needs to go get arrested for drug paraphernalia. Ziggler would be my bet.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's the next logical face in a storyline that could take the reins.
And I would like for it to be Ziggler. But I don't know if WWE would go with Ziggler. I think in a pinch, WWE would go with the veteran and make it be Big Show. Somehow have Big Show go ahead and rebel against, all the manipulations that the McMahons are doing and have him be the top guy going against it. I don't want it to happen, but if, let's say, D-Bry gets a concussion tonight at the SmackDown tapings and he's out for a while, I think they would go with Big Show.
I would have Ziggler with my backup being Christian.
Yeah, but Christian's injured right now too. That's why he's out of story.
He's not injured. He's just concussion, sitting out.
Yeah.
by protocol.
No, if it got that bad, they would put a hold on the Punk storyline. They would bring Punk into it.
Think so?
I don't think
they would. They would find a way.
Not after Axel's burned that bridge already with between Heyman and Triple H at the pay-per-view.
What?
Yeah, I mean, Heyman and Triple H are at odds, so I don't see how...
The whole Curtis Axel Triple H, you want to put this against me because I beat you on my first match.
Yeah.
The fact that Triple H made it harder on Axel that night when he's the heel, wasn't supposed to happen.
Yeah.
Because of all that history that they've already mentioned, I don't think they'd bury it all of a sudden out of nowhere just to have Team Heyman join up with Triple H.
Well, this is all... I'm not talking about bringing in them. I'm just talking about bringing in Punk. As I say, put a hold on that
just
storyline.
Pull Punk away from that whole storyline.
That's what I'm saying. They're talking about hypotheticals.
There's no way you could pull Punk out of that storyline right now. 1 week, I'm going to kill Paul Heyman and everyone he knows I'm going to kick Orton's ass and take the title.
He doesn't have to kick Orton's ass. He's on champion.
Or just
Look,
take
we're
the
talking
title.
about
or just I mean, since the title is vacated,
right, yeah.
he could just go ahead and just try to challenge
He can
for
have a
the
battle
title.
royal or something, a Royal Rumble for the title, and then he could win the title.
It's weird.
And
It's ironic that he brings that up because it's been the last 4 months that Bryan's been doing crazy shit. And I don't mean crazy shit like the moves he does, but some of those suicide dives where he looks like he's getting a lot more of the guy's head, or he's like hitting the barricade a lot harder, the flying headbutts.
He needs to stop with the flying headbutts.
He needs to calm down. If this is the cash cow for the next 6 to 8 months, he needs to tone down the stuff that's too risky and up the moves that aren't risky.
Actually, to answer the guy's question here, they'll bring back John Cena. Cena will get healed. He'll get healed. He'll come back.
Let's just put some that antler spray on it and
He
just
can do
be
promos.
okay. Yeah.
He can do promos. He doesn't get in the ring.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Stone Cold did with a broken neck after SummerSlam.
Yeah.
From SummerSlam to WrestleMania, he was fine.
Yeah, but he wasn't in the title picture. Stone Cold wasn't in the title picture when
You know
he was
what I
doing
mean.
it.
You're really picking that apart. I just threw that name out there. Jesus. All
I
right.
thought that's what we were doing. That's the hint. The point of this
Well,
question.
that's what makes this question that Jeff submitted so interesting.
Yeah.
If D-Bry wasn't on top right
Fuck
now...
it, bring back Goldberg. They're already making chance. Why not?
Okay. Yeah, rabble. But okay, Jeff, thanks for the question. That made for some interestingness right there.
Thank you for stressing us.
You should see the little worried look on Travis's face right now. Yeah, he's just
Travis is worried that you're going to edit out this whole conversation because you didn't get your way or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about that. I know he's going to do it.
If you only knew how much stuff never made it to air.
We have another 5 episodes in the can for our month-long vacation.
Right.
It's like, we'll tie them over.
All right.
Episode number 57 will be a WCW Greed 2001 pay-per-view recap that never made air. What the fuck?
All right. Anything else we want to add on about WWE, or are we done?
Tables, ladders, chairs.
Oh, my.
Yes. Returning. As in, we're getting it again.
Right.
Here in Houston.
Right.
In December.
Yeah. Tickets go on sale this Saturday, right?
See.
Tickets go on sale, and we're going to be trying to get our tickets. We've been discussing all night long before we started recording, and even on the text while we were recording on who's getting what tickets and what time and what seats we're going to get. So this is a pretty exciting thing. We're getting another pay-per-view here in Houston, so huzzah.
All right, as soon as I snap my finger, you tell me which pay-per-view you'd like to see come back in Houston.
Hell in the Cell.
Why?
Are
you a fan of the Hell in a Cell match?
I'm a fan of the Hell in a Cell match, and I think it would be good. And I can't remember the last time there was a Hell in a Cell match or a Hell in a Cell pay-per-view or anything here.
2007 or 6.
Here, it was
2006.
in
2006.
Here?
Yeah. No, I'm sorry. That was Bad Blood. Never mind. There was a Hell in a Cell.
Hell in a Cell was in Dallas, 2011. No, 2010.
Okay.
During the Nexus. Yeah.
Well,
Trav.
Oh, Royal Rumble.
Exactly.
Oh.
That's my pick.
Oh, yeah, that's a better pick than Hell in a
Yeah,
Cell.
it was. Yeah, you suck.
Yeah.
Elimination Chamber?
Shut up.
It's not all it's cracked up to be.
Yeah. You can't see. There's so much
It's
crap
hard.
in the way.
Yeah. It doesn't matter if you sit and smack dab in the front or anywhere in the top.
You got all this, yeah.
All the
It's hard-
plexiglass, all the
it's hard to-
chain.
It's
all
hard
the...
to see, yeah.
Yeah.
That's my pick, Royal Rumble. It's kind of ironic that neither one of us picked our WrestleMania. Was 25 that bad?
Yes.
we've been to two of them, so I mean,
Yeah.
But Rumble,
we've had
Rumble's...
one of the best WrestleManias of all time and one of the worst WrestleManias of all time.
Yeah.
And
we need one that's average.
the Royal Rumble we had here in San Antonio, not the one with Shawn Michaels winning in the Alamo Dome, the one that ended with Undertaker Shawn Michaels.
Yes.
That happened in 2007 for WrestleMania 23. Before WrestleMania before WrestleMania
25, right? Because 25
23 because that was when Undertaker chose Batista to fight, and that was his
That's
main
right.
event.
Yeah.
That
right.
Rumble match was one of the best Rumble matches that I've seen,
All right.
and it was a nice pay-per-view.
I remember the end of that too, man. That was beautiful.
And damn, Cena gets hurt. Cena gets put through hell in Texas. Every time there's a pay-per-view in Texas, it's a stipulation. He had Umaga at Royal Rumble in a last man standing match. He did the STF with the ring ropes.
With the ring ropes, yeah.
Raw 1000, he has that steel cage match against Ziggler. TLC, he had the the tables match or the chairs match or the ladder match with Wade Barrett.
Where's Wade Barrett?
That's a good question.
I don't know.
England.
Hell in a Cell in
He's cutting hair.
Hell in a Cell in Dallas. He was with Wade Barrett. If he lost, he joined the
Nexus.
The Nexus. And then
Is that the one where he yanked down the whole thing of chairs and all the chairs?
That was the TLC here the first time.
Oh, okay.
And then there was the other TLC that was in San Antonio where Sheamus beat him in a tables match to become heavyweight champion the first time.
Oh, yeah.
And kids were crying.
The Fluke Sheamus first title run?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So who's returning at Rumble, Sheamus or Cena?
Both.
They're going to blow the load on both of them?
No, I don't know. It really depends on how
Jake
they're...
Roberts.
Okay, which current star is returning?
Cena? Just because it's already been done, I would say Sheamus. We've done Cena already.
Yep.
Yeah. But I've got Jake the Snake and Ultimate Warrior.
All right.
One of the two or both of them as the returning
legends
popping in for the match.
That'd be pretty cool. I like to see Jake the Snake. That'd be awesome.
And one out of left field, not just because of the chance, but because there's been talk. It wouldn't shock me if Goldberg popped up.
Nah, get out.
You'd be surprised.
Nah.
You'd be surprised after that Goldberg DVD that's coming out soon and him already being around.
Man.
I'll remember episode 50.
Okay.
I'll play it back to you.
I know.
There's one last thing I want to throw out there from WWE programming. The new Bray Wyatt promo.
Oh, yeah.
That was good.
Jeez, that was...
It was good, but it's still just a freaking vignette.
Cleveland didn't deserve them.
Yeah.
To hell with them.
No, but put this... You're saying this is a promo. Add in this promo with the two previous promos before that. You got a good storyline going. You know, just in these little vignettes.
And not to mention, there's too much WWE programming for them to show up on every show every week. They've had a couple of episodes on Raw. There's been a couple of episodes on SmackDown. Hell, they did a couple of main events. What are they going to do if they get there
in the person? They're just going to beat up R-Truth or somebody.
Yeah, you're right.
So
part of the content of that promo was pretty much him talking about how much patience is a virtue.
Right.
Basically telling us, hey, we're not on TV, you just wait.
I thought,
trust me.
Yeah.
We'll make it worth it.
Yeah. It was like the patience is a virtue thing. I thought he was referring to Kane.
Yeah.
Like, because the week before that he was saying, "Where's Kane? Where's Kane?" And he started laughing. And this one is like, "Patience is a virtue." So go back and watch like all the vignettes.
We're not going to be on TV this week, but you just wait till the next couple of weeks when I actually am on TV. Yeah.
God, Abel wants to see him in person.
Ooh.
Beard off.
Hey, no, he would definitely beat me in the beard
question.
off.
What's a better vignette promo style, the Bray Wyatt family or the Shield's original handheld camera thing?
I'd say the Wyatt because the Shield, as much as I don't want to compare it, it did have the NWO-ish vibe, and the Wyatts is completely out of the box.
Yeah,
it's a horror movie on its own.
It's their own different style.
Half of the time, I don't think it belongs on WWE television because it's that good.
Yeah,
that it should be somewhere else.
Yeah, like the last one. I think it was this last promo or this little vignette thing. They were cutting to clips of them doing stuff to Kane on the during the matches and stuff. I was like, I wish they kind of cut those out.
Yeah,
not to sound like a nerd, if they were ever gonna allow any kind of WWE programming to get nominated for any television awards, this Wyatt stuff is up there.
It ain't gonna happen.
It's never gonna happen. Yeah. But that's how good those Wyatt promos are.
Nerd.
Yeah, I know.
All right. We need to wrap it up. This has been a long episode.
It's not that bad.
Yeah, well, a little bit.
It's a big baby. Yeah. It's a 50th episode. We got to give them a little extra.
It's 50. We're old.
Something.
Yeah.
We're old. It's late. We got to go to bed.
We got to cuddle a little bit. Okay. Now that the foreplay and the nut busting's over, we need to, caress and let them
romantic.
Let them know that they're still wanted.
I just want to go to sleep. Shut up.
Well, you go to sleep. Me and Travis will talk comics.
Yes.
I'm waiting on RoboCop number 1.
No more of this RoboCop crap. Quit that. Yeah. Okay. Let's see here. We're done with WWE talk, done with TNA talk. We talked a little bit about ROW at the beginning of the show. We got our interview out of the way.
Walking Dead spinoff.
Yes, there's gonna be one.
What? There's gonna be a spinoff?
But it's not until 2015.
Yeah.
Really?
They're doing another Walking Dead, a second Walking Dead show.
So in the same universe, but maybe like a different character and all that. Okay, that's cool.
They could take the characters from the video game.
Nah. Leave the video game for what it is. That alone, oh man, when season 2 of that game comes out, I am so over that.
They're also doing a spin-off of Breaking Bad. Better Call Saul. Yeah? Y'all don't watch it? Okay. Yeah.
All right, you guys, let's start wrapping up this show here.
Fine, let's talk about something that you can involve yourself in. Oh my God, The Miz in Cleveland. No!
Oh, shut up.
Okay. Is it trending worldwide on Twitter right now?
Not yet, because I want to finish the show, and then he'll be able to turn on Twitter. Okay, let's see here. Yeah, 50th episode, great. Woo! We hit that mark. But we will celebrate a little bit more properly in the next couple of episodes where we're going to have our 1-year anniversary. That's going to be pretty cool. That's actually going to be in 2 episodes.
Yeah, so, we can't make episode 51 seem meaningless, can we?
No. We shall not overlook episode 51.
So we just did. So
the bastard child of the show.
Yeah. So, we got some interesting stuff going on here, some exciting stuff going on here. One thing that is exciting is our t-shirts. We are selling t-shirts now. The original blue HWR logo t-shirts that you've seen me and Trav walk around in, to different wrestling events or conventions or what have you. Well, we're selling versions of that shirt. So you can go online to prowrestlingtees.com/Houston Wrestling Radio. Go on there and order yourself a shirt. If we do get some more designs, we'll be able to put a couple of more designs up there. Of course, we just got to be able to see that there's enough interest in our products and our shirts to justify.
I've got a couple of ideas for shirts.
No, he's saying he wants you to buy one, Chris.
Oh.
Anyway.
Why? Y'all gave me one.
I didn't give you nothing. Well,
yeah. Anyway.
That's $19.99, sir.
Anyway, go and check out our shirts. That'll help us out, monetarily, because it does cost a little bit of money for us to, have the hosting, and then, we want to kind of get some better equipment, have the opportunity. Yeah.
Man, do we need to give you an empty can? Because you're sounding like a bum right now, begging for money. Jesus
Even
Christ.
I'm embarrassed for you.
The shirts are worth buying.
They don't need to know why they're buying the shirt. Just let them enjoy the shirt for what it is. Don't worry, they don't care about our equipment.
Shirt, do-rag, dish rag, towel, whatever you want to use it for.
I don't care what you use it for.
We're not going to tell you what to use it for as long as you get one.
Yeah.
Right.
Or 2.
I'm just, letting the customers know that their money will go to help supporting and improving this show.
They don't care.
Yeah, they would if they like the show and they want to hear.
Trust me, it doesn't matter how good our microphones are, or the laptop, or the area, or the environment. Our show is still going to be what you're getting now.
So that I can hire better co-hosts, so that we can...
I don't think anyone else will be able to put up with you, Mr. Perfectionist.
Wait a minute. Rehire? Like, they're getting paid?
Oh, so it's going to be Travis and Chris and mystery host number 3 with somebody just producing on the side with his mouth shut.
Yeah. Because if you said rehiring, that means someone's getting paid. I ain't getting paid. Are you getting paid? No.
Not with money.
Yeah, well, you get what you pay for. All right. So do that, please, guys. Help support us. Help support the show. Wear our shirt. We'll have other designs up there for you, hopefully sometime soon, if, we generate enough interest in our shirts. So,
regardless, we have ideas, Aaron.
Speaking of Aaron, he's helping us out with shirt designs. He created our logo and created our original shirt design and everything. So if you need anything that you need to be graphically designed, whether it's just a logo for a website, something for a flyer for a business card or a t-shirt or something, go check him out. His Facebook page is facebook.com/Awesome AG Designs, and he has all the past work and past designs that he has worked on there, so you can kind of sample what he's done. So yeah, check him out. Why are you giggling?
50 episodes and you still struggle to think of the address for this guy?
Yeah, a little bit.
You wonder why it gives you a hard time.
I know. All right. Also, check out our friends that like football at Hero Stoppage Time with Hero and Hammer. Shut up.
Memorize by now, man. Come on.
I know. You can check them out on iTunes and also on the Stitcher Radio app. That's Stoppage Time with Hero and Hammer. Also, you can check them out on Twitter. Their Twitter handle is @HNH Stoppage Time. Ta-da.
Are you done? I
think so.
I was falling asleep reading all that.
Yeah.
Oof. Yeah. All right, so 50th episode in the can.
Woo!
Yeah.
In the can or in the toilet?
Take your pick.
Either way, we're flushing it once this is over.
All right. Well, that's it for that. Adios, my friends. Keep it classy.
Toodles.